Hello, everyone. Welcome to Primo NUTMEG. Joining us for the 12th time is Jackson.
Hello.
And back after a, I think, 10-month hiatus, Patrick.
Hi.
And the host of the Robbo cast, Robbo.
Hi.
Thanks for being here, guys. This is going to be another debate recap. Finally, after, I think, 13 months of doing this show, Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump finally met face-to-face last night. It was something pretty spectacular. At least I thought so. And, you know, when they first met, when they first came out face-to-face, what was your first thought? Like when you saw her coming out in the blood red pantsuit and him with the blue ball tie, what did you think?
Well, yeah, the red pantsuit really stood out to me. Like, oh, it's a power suit. Never mind the tie. She's got the whole head to toe power. And I imagine it was probably to make her like look healthier too. Kind of give her that blush.
Robust.
What did you think, Patrick? What was your first thoughts when you finally saw them come onto stage together?
I have no opinion about that question. I didn't analyze what their appearances are. They're two old people.
It's not really appearance, I guess, just like the weirdness of actually seeing them and of coming to terms with the fact that one of these is going to be the leader of the free world. Like for me, I tweeted right then, like, "Dear God, what have we done?" Just because these are our two options.
I disagree. I think the American people have decided that these are the two best people in the country to lead us going forward. So one of these two best will be chosen as the very best, and that is who our next president will be.
Yeah, and they get free pancakes at IHOP for life.
Is that how it works?
I assume so.
But, you know, the majority of people don't like these two. You know, they're hated by the majority of people, and the only reason that one of them is going to get elected is because people are more afraid of the other one. You know, that's like the key motivator. So,
well, fear is a great motivator. Ask Stalin.
Sure, but I think every other election we've ever had, there's been a support for the person. You know, like I like Barack Obama, I like George W. Bush, I like Bill Clinton.
A lot of people like Donald Trump.
Well, it's more like
me too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to vote for him, but I mean, I don't particularly dislike him. Yeah.
If I was going to choose out of the two, who am I going to beat my butler up with? It would be Donald Trump, and we'd have a pretty good time beating the shit out of an old man.
I think that Donald Trump has a really strong following of people, but even still, it's not a very large following, and I think that, you know, half of his support probably is people who just don't like Hillary Clinton.
Well, half of them are deplorable, so.
True. I was being sarcastic. I don't actually believe that. So
why is that a controversial?
It is very controversial, apparently.
I don't think so.
What?
Even in the media, like NBC,
I don't know.
like they're treating it like it's a really terrible thing.
I'll go on a limb and say the readership of Stormfront is deplorable. I'll take that stand.
Jew.
But I think that, you know, his cult following, it is something that is kind of bad. Even, you know, if they're not racist, they kind of are. You know, they're nationalistic is what it is. You know, they're passionately nationalistic.
They're passionately white.
Well, it's a scared white guy vote. You know, we're in Colchester right now. This is basically the heartland of scared white guys. And that's our people, you know. They complain about the football team, bacon, and you know, hates everybody who's trying to take their money, and, you know.
So, again, getting back to the debate, for me, it just was surreal to finally see these two come out and be face-to-face and realize that one of them is going to be the president come January. You know, it was just somewhat scary.
Yeah, that fact is just kind of hitting me right now, you know? Like, again, yeah. That's it. It's really, I mean,
it's probably going to be... I know we have to analyze this debate first, but it just, you know, it is probably going to be Hillary, right? She probably is.
I feel like Trump's I feel like it's even. I feel like it go either way.
It's even in the polls at like 40% or whatever, because 10% is undecided and 10% wants Gary Johnson or Jill Stein.
No, but 10% doesn't want Gary Johnson or Jill Stein.
Yes,
10% doesn't want to vote for either of them. They don't give a fuck about Gary Johnson or Jill Stein.
But in the
not
polls,
10%.
Yes, they are. They're getting like 10 to 15.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that they don't actually want to vote for them. They're saying, "Oh, fuck those two other guys."
It's like the harikari of voting.
Yeah, I suppose. I guess I agree with that. I mean, traditionally, they don't get that much of the vote.
Like, I know Gary Johnson's just a furnace of charisma.
Right. But, again, just getting back to the debate here. So I did notice that Hillary was the one who attacked first. You know, once they came out and did their spiel, and they were both kind of being respectful at first, but Hillary actually is the one who fired the first shots. She said, "Trumped up, trickle down," and she said that he got a loan from his father.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it seemed like it seemed like Trump kind of was balanced at the beginning of the debate, but she really made a conscious effort to throw him off balance.
I feel like she was on the offensive during the entire debate, and any attack Trump leveled at her was like just a purely defensive move.
Yeah, and she just like laughed it off. She kept like kind of smiling and shimmying her shoulders and stuff. And
well, she's a fun grandmother.
Well, because the thing is, she's like 10 times more miserable than Trump will ever be. And he kind of alluded to that. He said his temperament was going his greatest asset. And, you know, as far as the real Hillary Clinton, I mean, who knows who the fuck that crazy bitch is like, you know, like what you see, that sort of saccharine smile and these talking points and stuff is all you ever get to see about her, because she truly is like a psychopath.
They both are, though. They're both psychopaths. They're both.
Well, he's like a megalomaniac, sort of narcissistic, but generally harmless. You know, she's like insane.
Generally harmless. I
don't know, man. If he enacts some of the stuff he says he's going to do, it's not
it's
good.
really like kind of, it's brash and it's sort of like piggish. You know, like what he wants to accomplish.
It's like fascistic, though. You know?
It sort of is. And like in the beginning, you know, he was sort of like looking around like he looks around like Mussolini. Like
right.
he looks. Mm-hmm.
And Mussolini was the harmless one.
She would say, you know, like, so Hillary Clinton had she had like an opening statement, right? And then did he go next? And then she immediately had like the rebuttal after.
I didn't know when it was, but it was
Hillary,
fairly soon.
Donald, Hillary.
She said something about the wealthy should pay their fair share, and then right after that, she started saying trumped up trickle down economics and the loan from his father.
Yeah, would he be? Yeah. And then her dad was a screen printer, and would work all day on the big sheets and
wiping the squeegee
with the squeegee, and he would do it all the way down, like.
And it pissed Trump off, but one of his comebacks was that he called her secretary and asked if that was okay, and said that he wanted her to feel comfortable. Did you guys see that part?
Yeah, because I'm sure his advisors were like, you know, you can't be like a total dick to this woman because everyone's going to say you're
well,
like
he ignored that eventually, didn't he?
Well, after he got all whipped up, because she was just poking him, and like there was nothing. He was just getting more snorting and like glowering.
Let's talk about that. What was with all that sniffing? Like that was some hardcore sniffing going on.
Did you filling his lungs to like spew out the hot air? You know?
Did you see the Howard Dean tweet?
Yeah, actually, I was gonna get to that later, but. Yeah, Howard Dean, the former chair of the DNC, sent out a tweet at one point, and the tweet... Do I even have it? It said, "Notice Trump sniffing all the time. Coke user?" ?
What?
And he was jawing a lot too, so it's a fair.
Well, I know he's been taking diet pills since the '80s. That's what keeps him going all day.
So
yeah,
and yet he's very bloated.
Fantastic drug. I love Dexatrim. It gives me a huge rush of energy.
Yeah, the whole stamina issue is pretty ridiculous to me. Just because I don't know, she's an old lady. She's been traveling around the country nonstop for like the last year and a half. It seems like once you become president, the travel is a lot less than that.
But the key to this storyline is that there's been a conspiracy theory online for months now that there's something wrong with Hillary Clinton. And there's these photos of her like being helped upstairs, and it was a conspiracy theory. And then she even got asked about it on Jimmy Fallon like a month or two ago. and or Jimmy Kimmel, maybe. It was one of those late night shows, and they were kind of joking about it. And then after that, this happens where she collapses and gets thrown into the back of a van, you know? So I think...
She didn't even collapse. She was stiff as a board.
Old ladies get pneumonia. She's an old lady.
She had pneumonia for 9 months.
But my point is the timeline.
I don't think she was sick for 9 months.
But her coughing fits have been going on for like almost a year.
Yeah, because the coughing was like a week before that, right? She was doing all that coughing, and then...
And even before that, too, like in January and stuff, she was like having all sorts of coughing fits.
You mean she was sick, you mean like 9 months ago, and then she got sick again?
No, it's happened like 5 times.
Oh, boy.
The point is that it's been this conspiracy theory that people have been laughing about, and then there was this very dramatic instance where it seemed to get validated in front of the whole world.
Well, it seems like the only people who really care about it are like Trump supporters, really. I mean, I don't think independents care about that.
But it raises the question, because first of all, would you agree that the corporate media is kind of supporting Hillary to some regard? There are certain factions that you don't think that? You don't think that corporate media that has donated to her campaign for years?
Do you think, what about Donald Trump, who's donated to her campaign for years? How about that he's gotten billions of dollars of free media since the start of this election? You don't think that it helps their business if he became president?
But he's getting it because he's entertaining. Like, she has gotten it because people have kind of invested in her over the years, because it's always been assumed that eventually she's going to be president. Like, she's been an establishment figure for years, right?
So has he. He's a fucking billionaire. You're saying billionaires aren't establishment figures?
Well, according to Hillary, he's not a billionaire.
Well, he's... Whatever. I don't fucking care about that. I don't know the numbers. What I guess if a lot of people are saying that he's not a billionaire? A lot of people say he's a secret donor to NAMBLA, but he won't release his tax return.
Well, he does kiss his daughter in a very creepy manner a lot.
Didn't he say something too, like she was hot or something?
Yes, he said he would
date her.
Yeah. I had to make sure.
My point is, though, that I think that when it seems like you have a corporate media that is in cahoots with a certain politician who's donated a lot to her, both to her campaign and to her foundation, that when you...
Are you talking about Donald Trump again? Because he's donated to the Clinton Foundation as well.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't too surprised to see him together on stage, because there's that like photo of them at his wedding.
Yeah. That to me is the more bizarre thing about this election, is that they're kind of pals. You know, it's almost like it's like it's just like a fix. You know,
do you know before he got before he announced his president or decision to campaign for the presidency, he called Bill Clinton to ask him if he should. So I mean, these aren't enemies.
No, and
their fucking daughters are best friends.
That's another conspiracy theory, is that Trump is kind of supposed to be taking the fall for her, because they had this conversation. Bill Clinton and Donald had this conversation like several months before he started to run.
So then it's wrestling.
Exactly.
It's fucking wrestling.
It's
right. The loser gets their head shaved.
Better be Vince McMahon again.
Vince McMahon should have been Donald's running mate.
I agree. The more outrageous, the better. I thought he was going to pick someone totally off the wall, like Howard Stern or something. Would have been fucking awesome.
No, but Vince McMahon would have been good.
I bet if Linda had won, she would have been.
Wow.
What if?
Just cutting strings that got cut too soon. It was that attack ad, that Chris Murphy ad with her punching the guy, kicking the guy in the balls in the wrestling ring.
Yeah, that's
what did it. That's what did it.
You know, there was so much other shit they could have focused on too. Like, that was just such a myopic thing. Like the whole Attitude Era, like just all the crazy shit that happened back then.
Yeah, it really was like
Stephanie McMahon getting crucified by the Undertaker, and just all like the spanking matches that they had with the divas and all that shit. Val Venus, The Godfather, like there's just so much shit they could have hit her on, and they just did not do it because they didn't know, because they don't watch wrestling. I remember talking to a newspaper editor about that and asking why they weren't talking about it. Like, well, I don't actually think that happened. Like, but it did happen. I'm telling you it happened. Like, well, I don't think it did.
Nope, down the memory hole.
I don't know. Maybe just because it was so outlandish. But anyway, so back to this debate.
Wrestling.
So... I thought one thing that probably really pissed off a lot of Democrats was when they were talking about the 2008 meltdown, and Hillary was saying that Donald Trump bet against it, and then he said, like, that's business, by the way.
Yeah.
He kind of retorted that. I imagine that kind of hit a lot.
It's called business.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the not paying taxes thing. I've seen a lot of Facebook chatter. My more liberal friends are complaining about that. You know, like, well, you got to pay your fair share and stuff, and you know that really does raise the ire of a lot of people who believe in, you know, social spending and stuff like that, because it's sort of like he's getting away with something.
Well, also he's built his empire by government assistance. Like he gets like tax breaks for all these things he builds.
Yeah, and eminent domain too. I think that was something that Bush hit him on. That Jeb Bush hit him on, was when he had like eminent domain, or he was trying to take away some widow's house or something.
Some old woman's house to build a parking garage for one of his
in Atlantic City, and his dad's whole empire was built on like Section 8, you know, Social Security, like slums and stuff. Like they were all sort of
it's funny because
benefactors of government largesse.
I read this like
Slumlords.
I read this like article in like from like it must have been from the late 30s or 40s in the New York Times. It was about Woody Guthrie protesting the Fred Trump slums because they wouldn't like admit like black people in the neighborhood or something.
Wow.
I can't say I'm surprised.
So one thing that I did like Trump talking about was the $20 trillion debt, because, you know, that is something that our country has been burdened with.
And that's something I trust the self-proclaimed king of debt to fix.
Well, yeah, because he knows how to get out of a debt fix. You know, like if he's in a debt pickle, just, you know, default on the debt. Like, hey, yeah, whatever. All right, junk bond, whatever.
Well, as Trump would say, you know, America can never run out of money because we print it. So
He's got a very valid point.
well, I mean, it's spoken like a true Republican, so good for him.
That is true. I mean, to be fair about both parties, you know, people say Democrats are tax and spend, but Republicans cut taxes and then do stuff like go to war or do the Star Wars program or something and run us into massive debt. I mean, Ronald Reagan's administration is actually a major reson why we're in.
I know. I can't understand why they would cut taxes and then fund a trilogy of movies.
Want to go to space. Find those monkeys.
Did you hear about the new Elon Musk plan to colonize Mars?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
Breaking today.
40 years.
It's a long time though, right? What's like?
Well, I'm sure
colonize it,
Musk's head will be ready in its vat to go to the new promised land.
The fucking Tesla soldier suit.
You've got what you want, Musk. Give these people air.
I did not hear that. Okay, debate.
Well, it's nice because they've already mastered landing a rocket on a barge. You know, nothing ever goes wrong with that, so.
So I noticed that Trump, around this time, after he first brought up the debt, that's when he started getting really mad and he started correcting and shouting over Hillary over and over.
No.
Yeah, constantly.
Wrong. That's wrong. It's wrong.
And it was
Wrong.
NAFTA in particular. He just kept, like, he wouldn't shut up. Like, he just wouldn't let her talk. Just kept, like, the whole time, the whole NAFTA discussion was being very aggressive.
He
So,
showed
I mean-
a lot of he showed a lot of lack of experience in
Yep,
debating.
I agree. Well, because
Whereas Clinton's been in more presidential debates than anybody.
but not just that. She's been in a lot of one-on-one debates. Donald Trump had never been in a one-on-one debate before
Right.
this.
Well, he always used to hide in those Republican debates. You wouldn't hear from him for like 20 minutes until someone like attacked him or something. And
Right,
then
and then
chime in.
they would shift to somebody else like that. It doesn't happen in a one-on-one debate. Like you're stuck with.
Yeah,
I don't know about your feed. What you guys were watching? I was watching on C-SPAN. It was half and half the entire time.
I think most-
entire
I
Yeah,
think-
CBS was like that pretty
I
much.
think
the
all
whole
the
time,
networks
too.
had that view.
So it was just
His
him like
face.
snorting and interrupting her for like the whole.
Doing that underbite thing he does.
But how about the NAFTA issue? What do you think about this, Jack? What are your interpretations of how they debated NAFTA?
Well, I think it's kind of ironic because, I mean, Trump just couldn't put it away. He had her dead to rights. Like Bill Clinton signed NAFTA, you know? She just kind of shrugged it off. And she did that actually to a lot of his attacks, like the email thing. She was just like, yeah, sorry, moving on. You know, she didn't dwell on it.
About NAFTA,
it wasn't her.
She's married to Bill Clinton.
That's true.
She didn't have like policy say in NAFTA.
But she was pretty active as first lady as far as policy goes, especially with healthcare and stuff.
That's true, but like no one talks. He talks like, what have you done over the last 30 years? But when was she in a position of making major decisions?
But
definitely not in the last 30 years. Yeah, but that's going back to 2000. That's not. Okay, so you can say, the last 16 years, but he said 30 years.
She wouldn't have had his ear or anything? She wouldn't have had his confidence?
But who knows?
While she was first lady? Well, I guess, I mean...
She didn't have his penis.
I agree that at that time, I don't think she was, she had as much influence as she does now. But
well, I'm sure she made speeches supporting it when it was happening. Like that's kind of the first lady's job. In a lot of ways is to go out
not for policy really. They get their stupid thing
keep kids first. Yeah.
Plant a garden.
Yeah, all that crap.
Fitness.
What do you think Melania Trump's pet project's going to be?
That's a good question.
I'm sure it'll be glamorous, whatever it is.
So this is about the time that she hit him with the line, I know you live in your own reality, which is a pretty good line. That was a pretty good attack. And I think that throughout she did a really good job of not getting upset, not getting flustered, and just jabbing him and pissing him off the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Well, she's she's used to being a contested public figure, whereas Trump, this is new. He used to, everyone used to love Donald Trump.
I know nobody's liked Hillary Clinton for years, so
yeah, even Democrats are certainly not excited about voting.
Stole the election from Sanders. That's cool.
And it was about this time that I wrote down.
He's not even a Democrat, so who gives a fuck about that guy?
It was about this time in the debate that I wrote down, I'm glad Holt is letting Trump go, even though this is idiocracy. Because the first half of the debate, Lester Holt really didn't try to stop Donald or either of them when they were bickering. He just kind of let them go at it.
Yeah,
and I kind of liked that. I know that that's not traditional debate method, but it's actually, I was thinking it's kind of like UFC. Just let them go at it until it goes off the rails and then stand them back up. I
really like the format of this debate. I feel like too little questions were asked. They'd give him
Trump was just ranting.
No, but the design
he was rambling a lot.
The design of the debate was just to give him there were a few topics of discussion and a couple leading questions. It wasn't like the primary debates where you get questions about specific matters of policy. Really, that's just my opinion. I don't know.
I think that when time started running out, it changed. So the second half was a little more structured, and Lester Holt was trying to regain some kind of control. But
do you think Lester Holt was working with Clinton against Trump, as the Fox News homepage said when I read it this afternoon?
I don't think that there's a overt connection, but I think
he let the Clinton boosters clap and cheer a lot more than he let the Trump supporters.
Well, I want to mention something too, because I was watching on C-SPAN. I got to see it before it actually started. So he came out and he was very nervous. He was stuttering a lot and just he seemed incredibly
They showed that on
nervous.
CNN too.
Oh, you saw that? So
the mind control beam was dialing in.
Oh, it's a big spot for a newsman.
I could tell you, he was very
80
nervous.
million people.
And I think that was, I don't know what he was told. Obviously, none of us know what he was told beforehand, but I think that he was so nervous that he didn't want to try to interrupt
He was
them.
simply shown a video of his family on their knees with blindfolds on and men in ski masks with the guns in the back of their head. Don't fuck this one up, Lester.
I once saw a copy of Bass Player magazine with Lester Holt on the cover.
Really?
Yeah.
He plays bass?
Yeah, I think it might have been. I think it was your copy. You probably
With
got
Lester Holt?
Yeah.
What?
It was before. He was just the weekend news guy at the time, so maybe it didn't hit you.
Nice.
It was just some black guy to you.
Nice, funky.
Yeah.
So it's about this time that I wrote, "This is the most insane debate ever," just because they were going at it so much.
Do you really think that though?
I mean, those Republican debates were pretty insane too. But
I thought it was pretty. From like the potential, it had to be crazy. It didn't reach that at
It's just
all.
Trump
Yeah,
is-
it was
agree.
draining.
It's just Trump is crazy.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
That's what came.
You know what I mean? He just says the same stuff. He kind of is the same dude. And Hillary came out and actually
Yeah, she was poised. She knew the talking points.
gave platforms.
and he was just like
and-
reacting. you know,
yeah,
the whole
he
time.
just blew up. He
Yeah.
blew a fuse, and he was just yelling a lot. And
Yeah, rambling too. Like he wasn't making a whole lot of sense
we gotta
sometimes.
stop
that's
these
what he
countries
does in,
from
like,
taking
interviews and
our-
stuff.
Our companies and
you know
we gotta
what's-
fight ISIS, and we got to get rid of them. And
You know what's bad about
Obama sucks.
his method too is because he's not a politician, he doesn't have like those 1-2 punch lines. Like he doesn't have that "you're no Jack Kennedy." He just kind of like trails off like, "Well, it's very bad and I don't like it." You know, and it just kind of it falls
The
apart.
American people don't like it either.
You know, it's not that like Clinton really hit him hard like with that "you're living in your own reality." Like that's a real sucker punch, you know?
Well,
Yeah,
he
and
shook
the,
his head real disappointedly. So
She's like, okay, kind of was very dismissive too, which I found distasteful.
well, I
but
liked her
a great
demeanor.
strategy.
I kind of liked her demeanor. She seemed like a prize fighter, just like, kind of bring it on. So like when he like insulted her, she just kept like, yeah, keep it coming.
Right. She thrives on that sort of stuff, being the black ball of hatred that she is on the inside.
So
but
what
she could take it because he was just blowing up. You know, he like you were saying, he didn't have a place to hide. You know, he didn't have other people. He didn't have time away from the camera. It was just kind of on him. So
He missed some opportunities too, like the don't pay taxes thing. Like he could have easily, had he been less rigid, like you said, sticking to his talking points and stuff about the Clinton Foundation. Like, yeah, she pays income tax because like all her real money's in a nonprofit. Like it's all tied up.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, she could just talk about the Trump Foundation, which is like, equally just like all foundations. I think are just like fucking
Tax shelters.
Yeah, pretty much for rich people.
Yeah.
Like, did you hear about how he like used his foundation, which is funded by other people's money, to like pay off like legal kind of like settle legal cases. So he's using other people's money funneled through his.
It's called business, Patrick.
I
It's
guess
business.
So one of the few actual like policy points or actual issues that I liked that they talked about or that Trump talked about was the Federal Reserve, because again,
Yeah, that was his high point. I agree.
that's an issue that doesn't get talked about. So and I have studied, so I care about personally. So I agreed with the sentences that he said about the Federal Reserve. He said we're in a bubble. He said that if the Fed raises rates, the bubble will pop. Like I found all that to be accurate, and I was happy to hear him say that. So,
Well, he whiffed on Glass-Steagall, though. I think Hillary's main thesis was that deregulation caused the 2008 financial bubble, which I thought was totally specious and stupid. But Trump, she left a meatball out there for him. He could have said, well, under your husband's administration is when Glass-Steagall was repealed. So are you saying that your husband caused the 2008 bubble?
Do you think he's intellectually sharp enough to make that connection, though?
Oh, yeah.
Well, he didn't.
He's a maniac, but I know because he was so flustered by Clinton she was just, taking a victory lap, like you said. She was smiling and laughing about it. She loved to see him froth like the way he did because he just kept fucking up.
he did hit her a few times though, because he had that one line about the 33,000 emails. Like
I'm surprised.
That was the one time she looked like her countenance was a little shaken.
No, she knew how to handle that, though. Just apologize. See, that's the one thing she realizes now, finally, that you just apologize and move on. He hasn't mastered that.
Well, he can't apologize. That's against his constitution.
Right.
He cannot do that.
Yeah, and she used that against him a lot in the debate. Like the whole birther thing, he was just like, what the fuck was he even talking about, It's like, oh, it was a good thing because I got to release the president. It's just like, just put the gun to your head now, man.
But this was a campaign strategy move that they've been doing for the past couple weeks or week. They wanted to take the birther issue and turn that against Hillary. So like they resurrected it, even though it wasn't really in the news. He brought it back up, said Obama was born in this country, and it's because of these. I don't know their names. I forget their names. The campaign staff. Yeah. In 2008, and he was blaming them for it, which is such a ridiculous fucking strategy.
No, but
it is true, but it's a dumb strategy.
And her campaign released a picture of him like in his
he mentioned that too,
graduation stuff. I mean, I thought those were valid points, but again, she just like didn't talk about them. You know, like the first step in getting people to believe your position is to just ignore things that are contrary to it.
But Hillary Clinton was never out there saying or doing these things.
She's got minions for that.
Exactly. Donald Trump was there with the camera right on him, asking for his birth certificate.
The thing about like sending an investigative reporter to find information on your political opponent, that doesn't seem so controversial. She didn't.
But it wasn't just information. It was specifically to try to allude to the fact that he was born in Kenya.
But they didn't, though. Like they found that was that was false, so they didn't pursue that.
You're saying that these campaign staffers like orchestrated the hoax? That Barack
and then
Obama
Trump ran with it afterwards.
Well, that's not. They weren't out there.
It was Clinton in 2008.
They weren't out there like perpetuating it, though. They went to investigate.
Yeah, they planted the seed that Trump watered and grew into a beautiful flower of bullshit.
It's not a bad thing. It's clever. It shows how ridiculous.
No, I'm
Donald
just saying
Trump
that
is
it's normal for a politician to research their opponent.
Right, but they were specifically trying to insinuate that he wasn't.
No, they were trying to see if there was a way to say, "Oh, this guy can't run for president," because he was their political opponent.
You're talking about
in 2008,
Hillary Clinton staffers.
Yeah, Ari Fleischman.
I don't know their names.
Whatever you're saying, that they tricked Donald Trump into into believing that Barack Obama was born in Kenya.
No, they started the rumor.
That's what I'm saying.
He ran with.
They didn't start the rumor though. They went to investigate.
No, and they also started sending.
They fired?
But that's just political subterfuge. It's totally appropriate. Like.
I don't know.
You gotta check your facts,
Didn't that
dude.
person
Don't
get
just
fired?
take
I
it
thought that
and run with it.
I don't really give a fuck about it either way. Who cares?
Why would someone get fired for it?
It does demonstrate her character, though, right? I mean,
well, that could have happened outside of her approval, or people on campaigns do things without the.
That's what I'm saying is she has plausible deniability. Donald
always
Trump,
and forever. That's why she's not in federal prison right now, because she's a master at plausible deniability. That's the Clintons. That's fucking Claire Underwood 101. You know.
What was it? What's their guy's name? Their little political fixer guy they have.
I don't remember.
Whatever, the one who gets beat up by the hooker in the woods.
Yeah.
They all got a fixer. You know what I mean? Her hands are clean.
Mm-hmm. But
it's a whistle.
Well, his hands are very tiny.
No, see,
he's got huge hands.
Huge hands.
Terrific.
Is that rumor true? Like, you think that's really true that he still sends that guy? Like,
that guy says it's true. So
I bet he does, and that's
copies of his hands.
And I'm sure Clinton
stationary.
Clinton did play right into that sort of childish narcissism that Trump has. You know, you start kind of insulting him instead of talking about the issues. You got him on the defensive about like nonsense. Yeah. It just makes him look like an idiot.
Yeah, Hillary Clinton's not wrong. Donald Trump is psychologically unbalanced.
Right.
Like he's not a sane person.
No. But neither is she, but she's so much better about it. It's like the difference between, Hannibal Lecter and Leatherface, Like one's very calculating, one's very intelligent, one knows exactly what he's doing, the other's just like a maniac.
I don't know if she's insane. She's just very...
Oh, she's insane.
She's ambitious to a fault,
No, she's psychopathic. She has no empathy for other human beings.
Exactly. And, that's something that I heard Louis C.K. say. He was directing it towards Donald Trump, but I was thinking it's true of both of them. You think about Barack Obama or George W. Bush or Bill Clinton when they were running, and you think these are empathetic guys. Like, they might care if something horrible happens to me. Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton do not care. They have no empathy for anyone.
No. It's just an exercise of smart power.
But it was her...
Crack a few eggs to make an omelet,
It was her granddaughter's second birthday.
And instead of attending, she was at a debate that will further her political career. So,
what is she going to turn down?
Hey, she's got a granddaughter
scheduled before she even declared for the president.
Well, I'm sure it wasn't scheduled before she knew when her granddaughter's birthday was.
Yeah,
so she could say, "How about next Tuesday or Wednesday?"
These things are set in stone like a year in advance. Like that's
how old's your granddaughter?
You can't have her granddaughter.
Her granddaughter's 2, so she knew a year ahead of time that it was going to be that date, right? Or have a staffer tell her, right?
That's retarded thinking. Because
how is that retarded?
You think her granddaughter was up at 9? She couldn't have celebrated her granddaughter's birthday.
Did she?
Maybe she did.
I doubt it.
She's in the state she lives. She's at Hofstra University in New York. I don't know. That might be a hard hour drive from the granddaughter to whatever.
So something that Trump said that really made me cringe.
I love the dichotomy of like you simultaneously loathing her yet defending her like despicability.
Just your argument's like really retarded. That's all. Like
how?
Because she doesn't. First of all, she doesn't schedule the debate. The debate was scheduled before she even declared running for presidency.
But both guys have to agree to it, right? Or sorry, the woman and the man.
Trump was all upset that it was.
Or is it a forfeit?
Trump was all upset it was against a football game, so he tried to get him to change it, and they wouldn't change it.
What was he going to watch? Wait, he wanted to watch football?
Pissed.
He didn't want to have
No, he thought that the football game would take viewers away from the debate.
Oh.
So he threw a hissy fit about, like, oh, we should be able to change the debate date.
Well, that was a criticism during the primary debates that the DNC kept scheduling the Hillary-Bernie debates during football games.
Yeah, but the DNC didn't schedule this. It was the nonpartisan committee for scheduling debates.
Right. Zero palms were greased, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know, they work in league with the National Ketchup Council, and
Hey, Carrie's part of the Heinz fortune, so there you go. The strings are still attached, motherfucker.
Skull and bones. So something that really made me cringe was the law and order stuff when Donald Trump was...
What?
Donald Trump kept talking like law and order.
Something the law and order.
2 words Hillary Clinton is afraid to say, law and order.
That's 3 words. Did you catch on to that?
I think I meant law, quote, law and, quote, order. But...
Law and order.
All that shit, like that's when...
Stop and frisk.
Yeah. And then they actually agreed on some stuff. They agreed no guns for those on watch lists.
Hillary doesn't want guns with anybody except her Praetorians.
But I don't know that actually that's something I agreed with Hillary Clinton about when she was saying that, I don't know if it was her, I think maybe Lester Holt had a hand in it, but they were saying that stop and frisk is unconstitutional. And I totally agree with that. That's one of the caveats I give to Hillary Clinton. Yes, get rid of stop and frisk. Donald Trump is wrong to support it.
But the irony is that, like, okay, stop and frisk violates, what is it, the 4th Amendment?
Yep.
The unlawful search and seizure?
Yeah.
Yep.
But what about the 2nd Amendment? How can you simultaneously defend the amendment you like and then throw the other one out?
Because that's politics.
Right, but...
You ignore half of liberties.
Yeah, the shitty liberties. We don't like those ones.
Yeah. And then they got into a discussion about race. One thing I have to say, I know maybe it's considered a low blow, but you know, Donald Trump bringing up the fact that Hillary Clinton used the term super predator, even though Donald Trump, I think, is nationalist, borderline racist. I think that, you know, making note of the fact that Hillary Clinton used that term in the past was important, you know, just to be fair.
She called Donald Trump a super predator?
No, she implied that black youth or that a criminal element who happened to be black were quote unquote super predators.
This was 25 years ago.
Oh, okay.
So it doesn't count.
No, I'm just saying it's not like it was yesterday.
But she has said other things that were either racist or pandering. Like, did you see where she said that she carried hot sauce around with her?
Oh, God, that was embarrassing as fuck, man.
That was ridiculous.
Yeah, really looking. Well, it makes it sound like you're pandering to black, or you're trying to suck up to black people. Well, is it working? What the fuck?
I do like when Donald Trump was like kind of like insulting Democrats by saying, "Oh, they come around every 4 years and they talk about black issues and then they disappear," you know. Whereas Donald Trump comes around, I guess, once every 70 years and starts talking about black issues.
He has been doing a lot lately, right? Didn't he go to?
Yeah, I know. It's been Pander Fest. Yeah. Remember when he said all the blacks love him?
Black Slut.
Yeah, and then they had that press dinner, and I forget the host was.
Seth Meyers.
Was it Seth Meyers? Yeah. And he said, I think he thought you meant a white family named the Blacks.
Do you remember that like interview he gave like 20 years ago where he said he doesn't want black people counting his money? He wants short men in yarmulkes counting his money.
Did you really say that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's a positive compliment.
The last note that I wrote, I actually stopped writing notes because really I found this to be very exhausting, to be perfectly honest. Like, it was just draining to watch the show.
And there was no real gotchas. You know, I was taking notes too, but I didn't bring them with me because I was like, I think I have a pretty good idea of what went down.
One guy yelling and another person just trying
being glib.
Trying to give a debate.
But the last thing I thought was a good comment, or that I made note of, was they were talking about Russia. They've been talking about Russia like on everything. I don't know. Do you guys watch the Sunday morning news shows? Patrick, you must, right?
No.
You watch like the
No, I have
Face the Nation.
I have a job that.
Well, I watch the Sunday morning news shows,
Hip youth deacon.
and they are fucking bonkers.
No. Urbane jazz priest.
A jazz priest.
Jesus was a cool cat.
No, really. In the liner notes for this album I have, it's describes a gentleman giving the introduction to the jazz musician as a urbane jazz priest. They show a picture of him. He's got like the collar on and everything. Yeah.
Nice.
Wow. What a world.
But on the Sunday morning news shows, they've been crazy against Russia lately because they're hacking and they're trying to influence our election. Like, I watched on September 11th, I watched all the Sunday morning news shows.
Hey,
it was like,
let me hold up here. Don't you miss the day when we used to be like great allies with Russia? What has happened? I mean, we used to be so close back in the day.
Take that, Napoleon.
We used to have the cold love.
Patrick, during the 90s, during the early 2000s, we weren't enemies anymore. The Cold War was supposed to be over.
Yeah, but then the vodka ran out of the party. And
Seems like you got a case of the supposed to, Steve.
Hey, Yeltsin and Clinton were getting whores together.
Yeah,
it was a
really.
great time.
It was just
a great
those
time.
two. That was just the party time. Like after it
even
ended.
Bush and Putin got along. I don't know what it was.
Because they were both kind of weirdos too. I don't know. I think Bush was more like kind of George and Tommy sort of.
Wasn't there like a falling out between George W. and Putin though? They were like friends.
So.
I think so.
It's hard to.
That's why they.
How about W. Avril Harriman and using Ford's money to start the Gorky automotive plant in the 30s?
When did Russia invade?
Speaking of Skull and Bones,
Harriman, huh?
Oh yeah,
he worked with the Nazis too.
Yep. Yes, he did.
It was right around the Georgia-Russia conflict. I think that was right around.
No, but like before that.
That was August of 2008. So it's like right when Obama was getting elected. So it's kind of hard to determine if it was actual policy
that was
decisions
some bullshit,
or
though.
Why was it bullshit?
Just over a pipeline.
That was the Bush administration, though. That wasn't.
No,
Hey, the
I know
Afghanistan
August
war
of
was fought
2008
over
was
pipeline
I know.
too.
Did you know? According to
It was weird though, because like Levon was living in.
Remember how we got into Afghanistan under George W. Bush, under Obama? Did you see Trump's campaign spokesman say that? That was a couple months ago. Oh. She was like, she called Afghanistan Obama's war.
I've seen like where they do those dumb person on the street things, and they like hold the microphone in front of some idiot. Like I saw somebody like saying, why did Obama invade Iraq or something like that?
Yeah.
But
well, I mean,
because he's a Muslim.
Oh, whatever. Politics are kind of stupid. Like, why are we even talking about this? It's like fucking retarded. Who cares?
Because we can't just talk about our day on a podcast.
Sure we can.
Because it's the debate recap
How was
show.
your day?
We're supposed to talk about the debate.
Was your day fantastic, Patrick?
No, I mean, it was a normal day. Like
Uneventful?
Day.
Well, actually, we're gonna
rest my case.
We're about to bring in a special guest to analyze this.
No,
further.
we're going to jumpstart it.
So, are there any final thoughts that you guys wanted to share on the debate? Anything? Not really.
Clinton won.
Oh, I actually wanted to talk about the headlines real quick.
They didn't really talk about policy at all. It was just like this sort of weird personality contest between the two.
She gave a broad statement in the beginning of what she'd like to see happen to America, and it was all the standard cookie cutter. A small business and so
Jobby McJobber Jobson, jobbity job McJobber, jobbity job.
I got news for you guys. I hear rumors that this Donald Trump character has plans to make America great again.
Exclamation point! Great again! It's not top of the muffin to you.
Just like back when it was. You guys remember when America was great? Those were really those wonderful times.
Beach Boys were on the radio. Blacks knew their place. It was awesome.
I feel like Clinton. They were talking about. She was talking about he was talking about trade agreements. I feel like she lost an opportunity to talk about how all his clothes were made overseas and all that shit.
I think those "Make America Great Again" hats are made in China.
No, they couldn't determine their nation of origin because someone tested all the fiber. And
They're made on international waters by 3-year-olds.
So before we have our special guest is going to be Josh, who. Jack, you've debated in the past, so I hope that you put on some headphones and listen to what he's going to say.
All right.
But
Hook me up, Steve-O.
Before that, we're going to take a break.
Okay, I need a
before, I just want to read these headlines of the popular media because I'm fascinated with the media. Patrick, I've spent a lot of time talking about the media. I just want to read that.
Before we continue, what's the media?
Whatever it is, it matters.
Television stations, newspapers, radio networks.
What's radio?
So these are some of the headlines from today.
Damn you, Marconi.
First one I got was from BBC. It says, U.S. election. Who won the first debate? It was a battle between the lawyer and the salesman, and for the most part, the lawyer came out on top. The Hill said, Trump dismisses sniffling speculation as, quote, breathing. Donald Trump early Tuesday dismissed speculation that he was sniffing during the first presidential debate, saying a microphone, quote, had an issue and picked up his breathing. Quote, no sniffles. The mic was very bad, but maybe it was good enough to hear breathing, Trump said on Fox and Friends. Quote, but no sniffles, no cold.
I'm perfectly healthy. I've never been healthier in my life.
Here's another headline from The Hill. Giuliani. I wouldn't debate again after Holt's interference. Donald Trump's surrogate, Rudy Giuliani, floated the prospect of Trump not participating in further general election debates after what he believes was inappropriate meddling Monday by moderator Lester Holt. Quote, if I were Donald Trump, I wouldn't participate in another debate unless I was promised a journalist would act like a journalist and not an ignorant fact check.
And he'd throw that moderator in a van and ship him off like the hobo that he is.
Get him off the streets.
Yeah. Wall Street Journal said an underwhelming Trump-Clinton debate. The two most unpopular presidential candidates in modern history had their first debate Monday, and the best we can say is that they lived up to those expectations.
Was there a nice illustrative character of each other's?
CNN.com, Clinton delivers in first debate. Hillary Clinton showed up at the debate of the century and delivered. Donald Trump started out strong, then struggled. The Democratic and Republican nominees waged a fiery battle Monday night when they appeared on stage together for the first time, a clash of two famous personalities locked in a dead heat for the presidency. During one of the most highly anticipated debates in modern political history, the candidates drew sharp contrasts on temperament, character, and policy, and starkly different visions of where they would lead the nation. No, they fucking didn't.
No, not really. But I think Trump does really have to get under her skin somehow. He's got to figure out how to do it to get her sort of like, why aren't I 50 points ahead kind of insanity that she truly has on the inside.
ABC News said Donald Trump and the perils of little preparation. That was a headline. NBC News analysis, Hillary Clinton studies for debate with Donald Trump pay off. CBS News, like 2016 campaign, first presidential debate defied conventional patterns.
I think the silent majority is going to stun the world, though, I'll tell you. Because if you just drive around and look at the signs people post on their lawns.
In all fairness,
I saw my first Hillary one today.
People who are going to vote for Hillary aren't like excited about it. They just say, oh, okay. we're going to vote for Hillary, which might hurt her because people aren't like excited to vote for her, whereas Trump people are excited. But I feel like, you know,
But I think people are excited
I feel
to
like
be
the real,
anti-Trump.
you say the silent majority. I feel like the real silent majority is with Hillary. Like the fucking Trump has the loud minority. That's what I feel like.
No, that's not true.
I can say
like it
as a
Look at the signs.
I drive
Exactly.
around
Proving my
Connecticut.
point.
I drive around Connecticut all day. I usually do like 3 or 4, sometimes 5.
What Patrick
jobs
is
a day.
saying, it's the people who are not going to put signs in their yard. They're
Right.
just the average person who are like,
I see
I
plenty
don't
of-
want this crazy showbiz guy
But
running
I
the
see
country.
Hillary signs. I see Trump signs. I think it all depends on different towns. You see
West Hartford is a major Hillary.
Yeah, you see depending
Right.
on what town you're in, you will see different different political signs. But
But who votes? It's 60-year-old men, white men, right?
yeah.
Older women too, right?
You
And
can't
again,
judge it
to
off-
return to something that you've said in one of the first few Primo Nutmegs, it's going to divide unhappy marriages across the country. It is a battle of the sexes election. That's
Yeah.
what we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole debate kind of played out like an argument sometimes does. You know, I can say he's a married guy. Like sometimes you're
The woman has a
sometimes
well-rationalized
She
argument,
has all the
and the man just
cards.
makes faces.
Sometimes she's holding all the cards, and all you can do is just get pissed off. You get pissed off at one thing,
Start snorting.
and then you're like,
I want to hit you so bad
and
right
you
now.
get angry. You get angry that you're getting angry, and it makes you more angry. I mean, maybe it's
And
just
you
me,
make an odd
but-
threat. at
I'll be in
end.
the garage.
Yeah.
It's like I held back something really nasty.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was like that the
Yeah.
end of the debate.
Oh
so I forgot
yeah.
about that.
Okay. Well,
I could have gone someplace. I didn't go. Next time
So,
I'm gonna go there.
apparently-
Jennifer Flowers will be in the front row.
Yeah, apparently he was talking about Bill Clinton cheating. I
yeah,
didn't
but
really get that.
doesn't her being the
What?
victim of like a cheating husband?
Make her more sympathetic.
yeah, especially
No, 'cause
coming.
she's an ice queen. She brought it on herself.
Especially coming from a man who's infamous for like
I think she cared
marital
about that. She threw an
affairs
ice.
himself.
She threw an ashtray at him, didn't she? During the Monica Lewinsky thing. Was that like a?
yeah, but
She like
she's
threw an
pissed off
ashtray and
at
he
Was
got
that
a
the one he
black eye.
normally put his cigars out in?
running around.
It was a action ripe with symbolism.
Okay, we need to get Josh on the phone, so we're gonna take a break and be right back. All right, well, let me introduce you first. Let's start here. So,
Oh, sure.
Josh, thank you for being on Primo Nutmeg. I appreciate your time tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
So we
Thanks
just
for having me on.
Definitely, man. I wish that you were here in person.
Well, yeah, I do too, but, you know.
When are you coming down here again?
Teleportation hasn't been made yet.
When are you coming to Colchester again?
Oh, gosh. Truth be told, I was actually down there last weekend, but I literally had
You
no
son of a
time.
bitch.
I-
You son of a bitch.
Dude,
You were
what
down
do you
here last
expect?
weekend and you were on the show?
And I'm not going to tell you because I didn't have the time. I literally did not have the time. I had to get the fuck back to Boston because I have, like, it's ridiculous. I'm managing a frame shop now, so it's like I'm really, like, my job actually is important now. So it's different. I get paid a lot more, but
Well, if you're
It's,
down here
yeah.
before the election,
How are these Brahmins going to get their family portraits framed correctly?
yeah.
So you watched the debate
our
last
world.
night, right?
Oh, I did.
So
Beginning to end.
we just spent the past hour or so talking about it. What were your
Wow.
interpretations of the debate?
I think if you watched that debate and didn't come away with the impression that Hillary trounced Donald Trump, then you don't have a fucking brain in your head or you're living in an alternate reality.
I think we
I'm
all
surprised
agree.
he came to that conclusion.
Yeah, right? Yeah. No,
I think that we all
I mean,
agreed.
honestly,
I think we all agreed on
I
that.
mean, he had no control. Yeah, I mean, he literally reverted back. Like, he made it maybe about, like, 20 minutes in, and then you could just see him snap. Like, it was like she played him like a fucking fiddle right after that, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse for him. But yeah, how he doubled down about how he never pays any taxes, you know?
What'd I tell you?
I mean, it's
What'd I tell you?
incredible. Oh, my God.
But she really knocked him off balance. We went over the whole debate, but she attacked first. You know, she said the trumped up trickle down. She said you took a loan from your father. Like, she hit him first because he kind of seemed even keeled in the first 10 minutes or so, right? And then she fucking jabbed him, and he fucking went nuts and started snorting and freaked out.
Because he has no self-control. He has absolutely no semblance of self-control. And that's evidenced through every single person that has ever worked with him who isn't currently working for his campaign. Like, it's unfathomable that anybody sees him as a viable presidential candidate, because it's like, dude, nuclear codes, like, that alone should fucking disqualify a man of that temperament. Like, how can you possibly even imagine him at the helm of the most powerful country in the world, you know, and the most powerful military in the world, when he won't even fucking release his tax returns? We don't even know, like, where his money is or how much money he has. And he doesn't even want to, like, form an actual blind trust. He's just going to get his kids to do it as if that's a blind trust. Like, it's unfathomable. It's unfathomable. So yeah, I went into the debate like literally shaking like a leaf. Like I was curled up into a fetal position on the couch.
Did you plots?
Like, did I what?
Plots.
Plots? I don't know what plotsing is.
It's Yiddish for something. I'm not quite sure.
So you know, yeah.
Yeah, I probably plot then. Yeah.
But Josh, overall, what did you think of the quality of the debate? Because I've said this a couple times, I really felt drained by it. Like by the second hour, like it was just exhausting. It was Hillary being glib and Trump freaking out.
Yeah, yeah. I totally agree with you there. Actually, I started tuning out like maybe about 90 minutes in. You know, and that's just my ADD kicking in. Like, it's not that I wasn't interested in it. It's like my brain literally stopped listening to the words that they were saying, because they just, like, Donald Trump kept saying the same shit over and over and over again, because he didn't study for the debate. He wasn't even answering the questions, and he wasn't even forming complete sentences at one point. Anybody notice that? Like, he
was just ranting.
Christie turned to me when he started talking about the Fed, and he goes, "The Fed is politic," or something like that. And she turned to me and like we get what he was trying to say, but he wasn't even like cohesive in saying it.
By the way,
and it's also false.
Producer McGee here looked up plots. It means in Yiddish to collapse or faint, as from surprise, excitement, or exhaustion.
And I had some plots.
Wheelhouse.
Dude, I was on the verge of plots last night. Very close.
So, Josh, what did you think of Lester Holt's moderating? It's fine. What do you think?
I'll get you, the next
actually, I didn't think that he did a bad job. He wasn't as bad as Matt Lauer.
But he didn't really do much the first hour or so. He just kind of let them go, which I liked a lot, but I didn't know if maybe you didn't.
I think that's the mark of somebody who's doing a good job of it.
I agreed. I liked that. I liked the first hour of the debate.
Yeah. I mean, everybody wants to piss on Glenn Eiffel's job that she did with the Obama-Romney debate, and fact-checking and all that kind of stuff. But I thought Lester Holt did a very effective job of calling people out when they were straight-up lying. I don't know if necessarily... Like, there were a couple of things that Hillary Clinton sort of left out in the wind, and she totally did that on purpose. But it's, it's because Donald Trump couldn't even keep focused on it. So it's, I wouldn't blame Lester Holt for that, honestly. I think he did a very good job. And he's a registered Republican, if anybody read the articles leading up to that. So everybody, nobody really knew what to expect going into it, what he was going to do. But I thought he did a pretty decent job of it.
So what were like the main points in the debate for you? Was there any specific lines or moments when you really thought, wow, Hillary hit him hard, or she put him away, anything like that?
One thing that Hillary did that I thought that she did extremely well, and this is like completely non-regarding Trump and the job that he did. She responded to the Lester Holt basically asked her like a really tough question was, do you believe that police forces in America are implicitly racially biased? And her answer could not have been more perfect. It basically straddled the issue without, jumping too hard into any particular camp. Where she said, I don't necessarily think that implicit bias could be applied to any single group. She said, everybody has implicit bias. It's something that we all show. And if we're going to overcome it, we have to look inside and listen and think, why am I thinking this way about that person? And she was very, very eloquent in basically outlining, the misunderstanding between the two sides. I thought it was great. And I thought, as far as flubs, I don't think Donald Trump could have been stupider to say, my temperament is my best quality. Like, how fucking stupid do you have to be?
He's been trying to turn everything around on her, right? So, again, he brought up the birther issue. Like, that's been a concentrated effort by his campaign to bring that issue back up and put it back out there to spin it towards Hillary. But that's idiotic.
Right.
That's not going to work.
It's not only idiotic, it's flatly untrue. It's false.
Well, it's not false because it did come from the campain, but whether Hillary had a hand in it. It's not even
remotely linked to Hillary Clinton. Like it was a staffer who
plausible deniability.
Fired. Dude, plausible deniability.
She's got a bunch of
your
it.
Stance on Trump being a racist, Jack? Plausible deniability.
Maybe.
Jesus. Yeah, right. He's a fucking racist fuckbag. And he is. And Hillary called him out for it, and I was glad that she did. She actually called him a racist to his face, actually said that his position on Obama's, nationhood was actually racist. And
it's a great move for solidifying the base, right?
Well,
I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
She's talking about.
Oh, okay.
She basically, she called him out for being racist in questioning Obama's immigration status,
which her campaign initiated.
Her campaign did not initiate it. It was one particular campaign staffer.
Oh, who was part of her campaign?
Josh, was this person fired?
Come on, man. Get back to reality. Like, if you seriously wanted
to...
Why, are you using Clinton's talking points too now?
Hillary Clinton was responsible for something that Donald Trump had been pushing since Obama even released his tax return 6 years after the fucking fact. Like, you're really going to try to... I mean, come on, man.
She started
That's bullshit, and you fucking know it.
Do I?
Absolute bullshit, and you know it. You do, and you're fucking lying through your teeth because you want Trump to win because you want the whole world to blow up. I don't know why.
Well, actually, if we're going to talk about who's going to blow up the world, I think Clinton's exercise of smart power is much more dangerous globally. Trump, one thing he's been consistent about is his total fear of nuclear weapons. He said it on the debate too. He said if we use the nuclear option, it's all
there
over.
are anarchists for Trump.
Bullshit. He is actually quoted as saying that he would consider the nuclear option on news shows that he's been interviewed on.
I read him
He's
quoted as saying...
on it.
Well, he said you can't take any option off the table.
That's what Donald Trump is.
Patrick.
Bullshit.
I read a thing where Donald Trump said, if we have them, quote, why can't we use them, unquote.
Yes. Thank you, fellow, guy with a brain.
Because only people with brains are liberals.
No, the only people with brains are the people that use them. Not the people that shut them in the attic and stick to their idealistic...
I never use my brain, you're right.
Donald Trump is not going to win.
I'm one of the least brainiest people around.
Dude, don't even... Dude, have you checked 538.com? Like, has anybody been checking that website lately?
No, what is that?
It's not even about the...
website.
Yeah, but it's not about the polls, Josh. She has
I know it's not about the polls.
She has a lock in the Electoral College. There is almost no way where he can win. He would have to win
not true.
He would have to win fucking Florida, Ohio, Virginia, Pennsylvania. It's fucking impossible.
He is currently polling higher in Florida. He is currently polling higher in Ohio. And he is
what a bunch of fucking idiots, am I right?
Nearly tied with you're fucking right.
Yeah, fuck them.
Dude,
we should have this own country. It includes San Francisco, New York City, and maybe P-Town.
Hey, Donald Trump is from New York.
Listen, okay? The whole reason that Donald Trump is an actual electable candidate is because we live in the day and age of fucking reality television with all of these idiot middle-class people that drink in this image of this high-class lifestyle that they have absolutely no access to, can relate to an asshole who insults women, insults minorities, and fucking pays no taxes. And
Yeah, but you would agree
brags
that
about it.
Clinton probably has more net worth than Trump, right?
I don't know, actually, because we haven't seen his fucking tax returns. That's
Yeah,
the
but
thing.
all of Clinton's money's in the
No.
nonprofit Clinton Foundation.
Yeah.
No.
But that whole
Yeah,
that
right.
whole life that
Well,
whole
yeah, right.
idea though, Josh, isn't that too? It's not that far off. Like so many people will just watch these lakefront property shows or $1 million homes, and just they sit there and feed their head with crap.
Yeah.
Where's Robin Leach when you need him?
This is a good old
Wishing you
days.
champagne
He's dead.
wishes and caviar dreams.
He's dead. Oh, that's a shame.
Josh, were there any
Yeah, no,
points in the debate where you thought Hillary didn't do a good job? Do you think that she kind of botched any of the answers at all?
There were a couple of instances, like I thought the way that she handled the whole email thing was sort of flat.
That's what you said, Jack.
And I thought the way
People
that
with a
she
brain
handled the
can see
NAFTA thing. Well, no, that's the thing. It's like, dude, it's like literally. She didn't really answer the question because and also I will say actually that she did apologize for it, which was smart. On
A
her
great
part.
way to defer actually answering anything. I agree.
Well,
What did you
yeah,
think of
it
the
was.
red pantsuit?
Oh, dude. So when she walked out with that, and Donald Trump walked out with a blue tie, I thought,
Yeah, that was funny, wasn't it? They were like
this
they were
ain't right.
reversing because
Yeah,
they're
I
trying to
thought-
play towards the center.
right.
That's what I
And
thought.
I'm sure that was like intentional in some way,
That
shape, or
was
form. I don't
decided
know, but
beforehand, definitely.
Right. But yeah, you know what's funny? My coworker said to me, he goes, I will give Hillary Clinton one thing is, she has that exact same suit in every single color. It seems. Like she had it in yellow, she had it in blue
Orange.
at her.
Well, she's using all the
whatever,
fabric that her father printed when he was a curtain maker to make her new suits. You know, you have like
Yeah.
all the 60s prints right
all
out
the
there.
way down.
Yeah, well, she didn't have $15 million to start her own printing factory with, so
Right. She was just a humble Yale-educated lawyer who came up through federal government to become the humble public servant that she is today. Nothing about, trading cow futures or the Whitewater scandal. Nothing like
We're
that.
gonna-
Oh,
Monsanto.
fuck you with Whitewater.
Working for Monsanto.
Jesus Christ. Whitewater was investigated front and back for fucking years. And they
Yeah,
found
and
no
lots of people committed
wrongdoing.
suicide with 2 bullets in the back of the head who couldn't testify.
Fuck off.
No,
Dude,
but-
get out of here with your conspiracy theories. It's fucking bullshit. It has
Right, but
no
what-
grounding in reality, and it has absolutely no substance in this debate.
Right.
Keep it out.
There is absolutely no collusion in the government.
No.
No pulling of strings, no favors
No,
being made,
that-
no
yeah.
palms being
Straw
greased.
man argument, buddy. Straw man argument. The student becomes the master. I'm not even fucking arguing that. I'm saying Whitewater is bullshit.
Why?
It's bullshit. Because it was never proven that the Clintons actually had any connection
Oh,
to
because she has
Whitewater or the
plausible
wrongdoing.
deniability? That
No,
seems to
because
be a
there's no
recurrent
evidence,
theme.
You Nimrod. Come on, man.
Josh,
Like, Jesus.
Josh,
Like,
there just seems to be a pattern. I'm trying to look at this as rationally as possible, but there just seems to be a higher occurrence of people dying mysteriously that are somehow close
bullshit.
to
all right.
somewhat
You know what?
iffy information. I'm
having
just
this
saying.
discussion.
I'm just saying. It
Bullshit.
seems
You're
kind of
just
weird.
Saying, and it absolutely has no grounding in reality, Rob.
Are you
Like it
telling
has
me?
no grounding in reality. You'll find a couple of deep web bullshit sites that'll promote it as some sort of like sainted fact, but it absolutely has no grounding in reality. It's been proven false.
Are you telling me
So-
that
so
this
you-
70-year-old woman has known people who have died over the course of her life? That's ridiculous. She must.
I don't know.
I
There-
know,
there was
right?
like-
Oh my God!
All right.
Jesus. Hey, let me think of something, all right? All right, let me think. Have you ever thought about the amount of scandals that Donald Trump is involved in?
Dude, Josh.
like how
I want to
he
make
uses
I want to
his
make one thing
charity?
clear for me personally. I'm not voting
Yeah.
for Donald Trump at all.
I know you're not.
Okay.
I hadn't figured you were. I'm talking to Jack here.
I just
because it's like
I'm not going to vote
Fuck
for
you,
anybody.
Jack. Yeah,
really?
Jack
'Cause
actually
I
doesn't
thought you were
vote.
voting for Trump. Last time I talked to you, you were voting for Trump.
No, I said I like Donald Trump because he's the most hilarious candidate.
Jack said he would
He
not
really
vote
is
for
like
him.
he's Biff Tannen. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
And
literally
Hillary Clinton's a way bigger scumbag
We're
than Donald
living-
Trump is. Let's
Oh,
be realistic
fuck
here.
off! That is so completely opposite of reality, dude.
No, you're completely opposite of
Listen,
reality.
I can't listen to you say that there is any comparison between the shitbagginess of Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump. I will not fucking sit here and have you illustrate some sort of false parody between a woman who has fucking been working in a dirty fucking field for her entire life and a dude who has literally screwed every single fucking person that has worked for him.
Hey, real estate's dirty business, my friend.
Dude, you
It's
want
a
to talk
foregone
about shitbagginess? Talk about starting a fucking charity in your name. That's
Oh, the Clinton Foundation?
All these people. No. I'm talking about
I
the
thought you were
Donald
talking
Trump
about them.
Foundation. And you want to talk about the Clinton Foundation? They actually have helped people.
What about the paying for favors thing that they admitted to last week?
They didn't admit to it.
Oh, they have
did not
plausible
admit to
deniability?
it. Oh my god, dude. Arguing with you is like arguing with a fucking brick wall with nails in it.
Yeah, because I have no brain.
Yeah.
You should be able to run circles around me. It should be like a Trump-Clinton kind of situation here, then, if that were true.
I am running circles around you. You just don't know it.
Oh,
Jesus
okay.
Christ.
Well, probably because I'm so
Dude.
stupid.
So Josh, let's go back to the electoral college. Massachusetts, I don't even know the last time Massachusetts went Republican. I think the last time Connecticut did was H.W. Bush in '88, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. Yeah.
So why?
He's a Yale boy.
So why? Because it's consistently
It's
Democrat. Because it's not at risk
All right.
of those.
So, yeah, no, you're going to ask me about Jill Stein, right?
Right. Why should I not
So-
vote for Jill Stein and try to push the Democratic Party more left by saying, listen, there's these voters in these blue states who want you to move left?
It doesn't do that. Voting for Bernie Sanders in the primary did that. Voting for Jill Stein in the general election doesn't do anything but make a Donald Trump presidency more possible. That's fucking bullshit.
But not if it's a safe
right.
state, right? I'm not talking about battleground states. I'm not talking
But
about.
it's not necessarily, dude. Like, we voted in Scott Brown in 2000, what was it, 2012? Or 2014, was
So
it?
you actually think Donald Trump can win Massachusetts?
Sorry, it was 2010 that we voted in Scott Brown.
You think
Oh,
Donald
hell
Trump
yeah.
can win
It's
Massachusetts?
not,
Yeah.
dude, it's not actually...
I have seen Confederate
I
flags in
see-
Massachusetts, actually.
Silent majority, my friend.
Donald Trump. There's tons of assholes in Massachusetts.
actually,
Massholes, they're
Yeah,
called.
Josh,
dude,
actually,
and not only that,
can you speak to this, Josh? Because I've heard that.
At the age of 30, I'm a white man at the age of 30. Literally, almost all of my cohorts.
So why
are
aren't you
fucking
voting for
dudes that
Trump?
Say, oh, Donald Trump ain't that bad.
Yeah,
I think I already illustrated that. Quite
because he
well. Thank
speaks
you.
the language of working class white guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But
Right.
Taxi
he's not-
drivers love him. Taxi drivers love him. He said so himself.
I've actually heard that there's this drifting in parties of the Democrats becoming this college-educated party,
But he's seen him on the streets.
and the Republicans becoming a non-college-educated party. Like,
Yeah, gosh, do you see that 68% approval rating that Donald Trump's got among white males that have no college
but
education?
why do you think that is, Josh? Why do you think that the Republican Party it's supposed to be the party of the 1%? It's the greedy billionaires, the Dick Cheneys, and the horrible fucking cabals that run these corporations. Why do you think that Republicans are gravitating towards that party and the supposed party of the working man, the Democrats, all of these like intellectuals are gravitating towards? Why? How does
Okay.
that make any sense?
It makes a lot of sense if you look at what's actually like happening here. So the Republicans are essentially exploiting a blind spot in both political parties. And they're saying that they're going to address all of these issues by doing a whole bunch of shit that they've already done before and doesn't actually work. But the people that are voting for them are not really invested in the fact that, you know, lowering taxes is actually going to destroy the fucking economy the way that we structured it. So they vote for the lower taxes because they immediately benefit them at that time. But they don't see, like, down the road what's going to happen when the entire budget is thrown completely out of whack. I think they're basically, and Donald Trump especially, is capitalizing off of a strain of the American public that feels disenfranchised by Obama's presidency. And if you look at the people that are pissed off the most,
well, he did double the national deficit in 8 years.
Shut up. Let me finish. If you look at the Jesus Christ, dude, why the fuck did you have to interrupt me? I'm like right in the middle of a.
Well, I'm just saying, like in the last 8 years, he doubled it from the history of the United States to now.
Because he was pulling us out of the hole that George W. Bush created. Because he had to.
I thought the abolition of Glass-Steagall created it under the Clinton administration.
That's fucking garbage. Would you stop with your fucking half truths? Like, it has absolutely no grounding in reality. Listen,
I know you keep saying that, but you've yet to demonstrate it.
I don't. What do you mean I have yet to demonstrate?
Well, you keep saying my thesis has no basis in reality, but you haven't created a counterpoint. You just keep saying that.
My counterpoint, okay? Listen. Number one, it wasn't even the point that I was talking about, and you interrupted me in the middle of talking about another point. Which is called a bait and switch, and that's what you're trying to fucking do to me, in the middle of me talking. Mm-hmm. That's what you do on the internet all the time, if you haven't noticed.
Well, you're not on Facebook, so I have no one to do it to anymore.
Yeah, right. So, number two, George W. Bush didn't put the Iraq War or the Afghanistan War on the books in the United States. He didn't actually put it in the government's budget. And then Obama got the budget, and all of a sudden, trillions of dollars in debt are on the national budget. And on top of that, we have a housing market and a housing bubble that burst immediately afterward because he gave out basically carte blanche to all these banks to give out shitty mortgages to a whole bunch of thousands of people that didn't have good enough credit to get those mortgages. And a lot of fucking bankers profited off of the failure of those mortgages.
Yeah, Josh, was the Federal Reserve involved in the banking crisis, or was any government it's a serious question. Just listen to me and answer. Was the Federal Reserve or any government regulation responsible for the housing bubble?
Were they intrinsically responsible? Yes. I don't think so. No.
Okay, so what created the housing bubble?
The Home of Your Own campaign started by the George W. Bush administration.
But that's government regulation.
That's
government regulation. That's government trying to give people loans.
It is a loosening of government regulation, Steve. That is a loosening of government regulation. You're talking about literally there were limits on.
But comparative to
mortgages, you were talking about limits that were on mortgages, that you could not get a mortgage for a house if you made such and such money and you had this sort of credit rating. And basically George Bush said, no, let's let everybody buy houses because this will make minorities computers better. The spirit was nice, but it absolutely
fucking minorities
didn't
passionate conservatives.
But didn't government subsidize these
Medicare
loans?
Part D?
Didn't government actively participate in helping grant these loans? Wasn't there subsidies involved? Wasn't there tax money involved in this?
Dude, you're talking about deregulation of the industry. You're not talking about an overarching government controlling the economy. That's what they were doing.
But the fucking Federal Reserve is controlling the economy, and there was hyper liquidity caused by low interest rates.
That's what they were doing before George Bush took the limitations off. And that's what happened. And then you're going to tell me that, it's the Federal Reserve that did it, because they raised interest. It's fucking bullshit. It's recontextualization. Yes, lowered interest rates. And they haven't raised interest rates in a really long time.
Right.
But either way, so what I was saying before Jack so rudely interrupted me was
My apologies.
Think Donald Trump hit on, you're forgiven. It's on a vein of the American public, okay? Think of all of the guys around your age or my age, white guys that are pissed off at President Obama and pissed off about the whole race debate that he started and pissed off about all the fact that he's given all our money to all those poor people. All right.
Yeah, but under whose
Donald
administration
Trump
did the
is
riots start?
capitalizing off of American white supremacy racism. That is what he is capitalizing off of.
Josh,
White supremacy is what this nation is founded on. Ask an Indian.
It is. It absolutely is.
Right,
That's one
so-
area I'll agree
Josh,
with
you-
When do you have to own it?
you aren't wrong, but for somebody like me, I look
White
at both,
guy.
and I think the majority of people, right? I mean, these are both people are both Hillary and Trump are unpopular with the majority of Americans. I think we look at these two and we say these are two asinine psychopath clowns who either one is going to
one of them is an
destroy this
asinine
country.
Psychopath. The other one's a politician. Anyway,
And a shrewd one to boot.
Plausible deniability.
yeah, I'll take shrewdness over insanity.
What if it's insane shrewdness? We were talking about this actually before you got on the phone. It's like a comparison between Hannibal Lecter and Leatherface. What do you feel about that?
Where
Hannibal
Hillary
Lecter,
Clinton
I
is
guess.
Hannibal Lecter.
Right? Yeah. Well, duh.
All right, so you're voting
Oh, Josh,
Hannibal Lecter
Josh,
this fall.
I know. Listen, Josh, I know you got to go, but I just want to say something. You totally fucking called the South Park shit sandwich giant douche. You called.
Kudos
who was
for that.
who.
That is true.
So
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, eat your shit sandwich and vote for Hillary Clinton. All right. No, did you see John Oliver's bit that he did this past week?
No, what
where
did
he
he
was
do?
talking about the oh, dude, you got to watch it. He
I hate
basically
them
he
foreigners.
does a disambiguation of all of the scandals that Hillary Clinton is under and all of the scandals that Donald Trump is under. And it's literally like there's no comparison between the two of them. Donald Trump is a con man, like a professional con
he started
man.
so many wars.
Hillary
He invaded
Clinton-
Iraq and Libya and
Hey,
bombed the Yemenis.
That doesn't... Dude, he didn't have the opportunity to because he wasn't in political office. Number
Whereas
one.
Clinton
Number
was.
two,
So.
the whole starting of wars shit, like you're throwing out all political precedent in saying that. You're saying that, oh, the system is
No,
broken.
Josh,
We
they're
shouldn't
all
elect
bad.
any
They're all
single
war
person that was
criminals.
even remotely
Obama is a
involved in
war
that.
criminal. George W. Bush is a war criminal. George
Bullshit.
H.W. Bush is a war criminal. They're all war
Obama
criminals.
is not a war criminal.
Yes, he is. He
Dude,
fucking
Obama-
murdered
come on.
American citizens.
He is
He
not.
drone bomb
He is not.
Americans. He assassinated them. He has a fucking assassination list. He's a fucking war criminal.
He drone bombed Anwar al-Awlaki, who was basically
And his son, his
funding
16-year-old
terrorist
son, who
groups.
was born
And
in
a few
fucking
weddings,
Denver.
big fucking deal. You know? Fuck those
Dude.
camel jockeys, you know what I'm saying?
Dude, you know what? Bombing accidents have happened since the beginning of fucking time.
Since
dude.
they invented
War
bombs.
has existed. You're going to blame it on the one guy at the helm who didn't even
Who is the
start
commander in
war?
chief? Yeah, I think that's a fair
I think it's
charge
an unrealistic expectation of
Oh,
reality.
not living in reality again. Here we
You
go.
know,
Dude, no, you're literally...
There
you're
you
putting
go
a vote for
again.
Nikolai
third-party
Tesla.
candidates as if it
Nikolai
actually
Tesla
knew Jack
predicted that
Kennedy.
we would fight with drone weapons, and it would lead to
Dude.
world peace. Because
All right,
no
Josh,
one will
listen, I know
fight.
you got to go pick up Chrissy. Do you have any final thoughts? Any just last things you want to share with us before you go?
All right. So if there's one thing that I wanted to share and one thing that I really wanted to get out in this phone call, okay, it's that this whole third party thing, it's completely unrealistic and it has absolutely no grounding
In reality.
The reason that we have a
Let him go. Let him finish.
the reason that we have a bifurcated American political system is because you have two parties who have colluded with their individual focus groups to become the most powerful two parties in the nation.
And
They have their
corporations.
fucking finger on the pulse, and that's it. You can't destabilize that because it's literally at the point where those two parties exist and everything else is in addition to that. They suck up all the policy platforms that are even remotely related to their own. So you can see Hillary Clinton took Bernie's socialist platform and incorporated like 80%, 90% of it into her own platform. Whereas Jill Stein has all of Bernie's platform, but she's not electable because we didn't elect Bernie Sanders to be the Democratic candidate. If you're voting for a third
But wasn't that
candidate,
fraud?
You don't get how the American electoral system works. It's math. So it's
Josh,
stupid. Don't do it.
I am being a realist. I'm going by the Electoral College. I'm saying that the popular vote may be up for grabs. However, Connecticut or Massachusetts or fucking California, those states, people should vote for a third party because you're making a statement. It's a safe state.
Yeah, but you're not contributing to the popular vote. And it's
That
just
doesn't matter.
silly.
Nobody
It's
fucking
a
counts the popular vote.
self-aggrandizing gesture. That's all it is. You're jerking off into the wind. You're saying,
Yeah, but weren't you
"Look at
just
me, I
denigrating
can
those
That's
two
not
parties
fucking
by
true,
saying they
Josh.
were the only
That guy.
ones who, through their machinations, became electable?
Josh, look at fucking abolitionism. Look at the labor movement. Look at women's suffrage. All of those
Yes.
platforms were forwarded by third parties and people voting for
Yeah,
third
and you know
parties.
what? They did it back in the 1850s and the 1800s.
So why is
and
today
the
different?
1700s.
Why can't we forward platforms today? We
Because
just got to
we have
shut
the
up and follow.
internet. Dude, we have the internet. We have the information age. Okay,
But wouldn't you say
people
that
are
the
actually gonna
internet
get off their
made the
asses-
third parties
if
more
people are gonna
viable?
Get off the asses and make the Green Party electable. The time was fucking 2 years ago. Okay, sitting in front of your computer and waxing poetic about how your conscience is going to be.
I
clear
do
is
like to
just
wax
fucking
poetic.
shit, dude.
That is a pastime of mine. All right,
I'm just
Josh,
saying,
listen.
dude, it doesn't do anything. It is a self-aggrandizing gesture and absolutely nothing more.
Josh, I love you. I think you're brilliant. I
love you all.
I want you to be on the
Even
show.
Jack.
I want you to be here on the show. Can you come meet with us in person at some point in the future? We've come out to Massachusetts
Some point.
twice. You got to come down to Seatown and fucking tell us about it. God damn it.
Well, dude, again, when I'd hate to call you and say, "Oh, hey, I'm done in Seatown," but I can't do anything.
Listen, we'll go meet at fucking Houlihan's or whatever it's called now, and we'll get my cell phone and we'll record an episode just bullshitting over beers. Okay.
Well, that would be fun.
Okay.
Anyway,
All right, man.
thanks.
You're not living in reality, Steve. Live in reality!
Hey, listen, tell
Yeah.
Chrissy we all said hi.
Hi,
Yes,
Chrissy.
I will.
Thanks again, dude. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jack, Patrick, and Rob, and Steve.
Later.
And have a good night.
All right, folks, we'll be
You
right
too.
back with some final thoughts. All right, can we just... I want to talk about a few other things. I'd like to talk about sports if we could briefly, but...
Sports?
Can we...
Dun, dun, dun. Now you're in Patrick's wheelhouse.
Not really.
Being a reluctant defender
But-
of Hillary Clinton is not enough.
But I just want to maybe briefly talk about one other political issue. Can we talk about one quickly?
Okay, shoot.
So, have you guys heard about this legislation that was passed by both houses of Congress that would allow 9/11 families to sue Saudi Arabia, and Barack Obama vetoed it?
Well, first off, let's try living in reality, you fucking cocksucker.
So, this is one of 12 vetoes that Obama has had during his administration. And I was actually looking up a lot of stats on vetoes today. So, I know this is very dry, but it's important. It's how laws get passed and shit, right? So, if both houses of Congress pass something, it goes to the president. He can sign it into law or he can veto it. If he vetoes it, it goes back to Congress. Congress has to pass it at a higher threshold to override the president's veto.
Is that 2/3 majority?
I believe so.
Okay.
Patrick, you know,
It
let's just say it is.
Majority?
Fucking civics class.
So there are additionally, just for the sake of this conversation, it's not really important, but just so you know, there are two types of vetoes. One, a president can say, I veto that.
Oh, and the pocket veto?
and a pocket veto.
Oh, I like that one.
A pocket veto.
So they put it in their pocket.
A pocket veto is where the president does not acknowledge a law that was passed by Congress until they're out of session, and then he does not have to sign it. He
Right.
just ignores it. So, and they,
La 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 la.
so if we understand this process, right, here is the history of legislation that has been vetoed. There has been 505 pieces of legislation that have been vetoed by
1,505?
1,505.
Okay.
Vetoed by the president. 1,067, so almost an equal amount, 2/3, have been pocket vetoed. And that comes to a total vetoes of 2,572. So in the history of the United States, 2,572 pieces of legislation have been passed by Congress, and the president has denied it becoming law. 110 of those have been overridden. So 110 of that 2,500.
Wow, it's a pretty small ratio.
It is a very small ratio, has gone back to Congress, and Congress said, fuck you, president,
Well,
we're making that a goddamn law.
You would think if they were vetoed, they were controversial, so they probably passed the House and the Senate with very slim
Sure.
margins.
And then they couldn't override the majority. because I think throughout most of history, I mean, the 1820s, 1830s, I think it was just Democrats, but through most of our history, it's been essentially two parties have been in control. So been, Republicans and Federalists, or
Whigs,
Democrats,
and Whigs.
Right. So there have only been 110 pieces of legislation that have been overridden by Congress. So there was this legislation passed by the House and the Senate saying that 9/11 victims' families can sue the Saudi Arabian government. And Barack Obama vetoed that. That is one of 12 vetoes that he has issued. None of the 12 have ever been overridden, but they're saying tomorrow, or the day that this is...
Well, it was unanimous. They passed it unanimously.
No, there was like 9
No,
dissents.
they could not have.
It was a very small dissenting.
Oh, really?
It was like 9 in the House.
Dude, there's going to be some Democrats that are going to go on with the president no matter what, But they're saying that
because they're in touch with reality.
Of these 12, this will be the first piece of legislation that they're saying is going to be passed into law on a veto that's been overridden by Congress. So that's kind of a big deal. The last time this happened was in 2008. There was some Medicare legislation. Bush was trying to cut Medicare payouts to doctors, but it was like July of 2008. That's the last time this has happened. So it's been a while. So it's kind of a big deal. And it's the first time it happened to Barack Obama. So I'm just curious what you guys might have to say about this legislation or about the process.
Since you have the veto stats up, what's the average amount of vetoes per president?
I don't know if I have the average, but the percentage of vetoes overridden has been 4%.
Well, I asked you for the average amount. How many bills did Bush veto?
Okay, so so Bush, he also vetoed 12, the same amount as Barack Obama. It's even, but 4 were overridden by Congress. So I think that was mostly after the 2006.
Probably.
Yeah, with the Pelosi crowd coming in.
What about Clinton?
Wait, let me actually pull up the website here. All right, so Clinton, how many pieces of legislation did he have? Oh, there's a veto threat. There's a summary of vetoes. Okay, so Bill Clinton, he vetoed 36 fucking laws.
Well, he had the Newt Gingrich crowd.
I'm sorry, 36 regular, 1 pocket. So that's a total of 37. Two of those were overridden by Congress.
Yeah, he had the Republican House, and they must have had the Senate too.
Well, 94.
Yeah, that was like the Contract for America period.
Well, that's when they took over the House. I don't know if they had control of the Senate as well.
I think they did too. I'm pretty sure. I think it was like 2006. It was like a total takeover. So the last president who didn't have anything overridden was Lyndon Johnson. Johnson and Kennedy both didn't. Before that, you'd have to go back to Warren G. Harding.
How many is there presidents without any vetoes whatsoever?
Probably
Ford.
Grover Cleveland, that motherfucker.
Washington vetoed 2, had nothing overridden. Adams didn't veto anything. Jefferson didn't veto anything. That's pretty surprising, actually.
Yeah,
actually, no presidents had any vetoes overridden until John Tyler.
He's a Democrat.
John Tyler, Franklin Pierce, and... Okay, so let's...
Not the same thing anymore.
Louisiana Purchase, hello.
So let's think. Let's play some trivia.
Trivial Pursuit.
We have presidential, congressional conflicts in history. That's the subject.
I want the entertainment category.
Who are some of the highest? Who are some of the presidents who got along least with Congress in history?
Andrew Jackson.
Andrew Jackson had a total of...
I'm going to go with Clinton, 37.
Jackson had 12 vetoes and none were overridden.
Really?
Yeah. He did most of those pocket. This fucking asshole. This is five regular, 7.
Well, he was the king of the executive order.
Jackson was?
Yeah, old Hickory. He pretty much invented the executive order.
Well, he was a general.
We was running down sheep on the mall.
Who do you think has the most vetoes overridden by Congress? The most presidents said, "Fuck that Congress, I'm not passing that," and Congress
Reagan,
overrid that.
FDR,
Reagan,
Bush,
Andrew Johnson.
Oh, yeah, well,
Reconstruction.
He was impeached.
He had 15. Harry Truman had 12, and Gerald Ford had 12.
Really? 12 for
Ford is a lot. Like, that was only a couple of years, right?
Well, that was a really contentious time, like with the whole Nixon thing. And
yeah, stagflation was gripping the country.
They want to get rid of Ford. Well, they did. They got rid of Ford a couple of years.
Yeah. Well, why drive a Lincoln when you can drive a Ford? As he'd say. It's funny in that that vice presidential. That was this big pickup line.
It's a good one. It's a doozy.
In the vice presidential campaign, Bob Dole, who is going to be his vice president, claimed that World War II was a war of choice from the Democratic Party. That didn't go over so well.
So which president?
It's true though.
Which president has vetoed the most bills?
Oil embargo in Japan. It's totally true.
Which president has vetoed the most bills?
37. I'm gonna have to go with Bill.
You're not going to believe this stat. It's fucking astronomical. Franklin Roosevelt, which makes sense, right? 635 vetoes.
Whoa!
That's 635 out of 2,500. That's a lot.
What's that thing that the Republicans are trying to pass a couple of years ago? Is where like president can like veto certain like parts of bills.
Oh, line item veto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That never passed.
Yeah, McCain was big on that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the legislation. What do you guys think of this? Should 9/11 families be able to sue Saudi Arabia? Patrick?
Hell yes.
Jack, why yes?
Why not?
Well,
Patrick?
it's like if I don't know like how much they were involved in 9/11, but like say Shane Smith went over to Australia and he like hit a kangaroo over the head with a baseball bat.
It's pretty plausible so far.
Should the United States government be held accountable for something one of its citizens does?
But they're not talking about that.
This is what I'm trying to understand, right? I don't think it's because they were Saudi citizens. I think
they're saying
they are claiming that the Saudi Arabian government funded it somehow.
Well, yeah, but like what evidence do they have?
I don't really know
outside
about that.
what was just released in the 9/11 thing.
I honestly am ignorant about this. So what is the claim? Do we know what how or why or through what methods did the Saudi Arabian government fund 9/11?
It was like something like housing or something. I don't remember.
It's like housing subsidies when they stayed in the U.S.
How many hijackers were there? Like 20?
I don't remember the
19
exact
or
thing.
18, something like that.
Yeah, and like 3/4 of them were Saudi citizens.
Yeah, but they don't want to sue the Saudi government because they're Saudi citizens. I don't think
it's because they're saying that
the Saudi Arabian government. They're saying that in the excluded pages of the 9/11 Commission report, there's something that indicates that the Saudi Arabian government somehow funded the 9/11 terrorists, but I have no idea how they would do that.
Is there any way you could look that up? Like, I don't know.
If people want to hear me Googling for the fucking next 20 minutes.
No, it works for
Steve
Mike.
can cut it out.
It works for Mike Francesa, so.
All right. How did Saudi Arabia fund 9/11? Getting some fucking psycho conspiracy theorist website.
We'll get it like
I bet InfoWars is number one. All right.
Oh, did you hear Alex Jones freaking out?
PrisonPlanet.com.
All right, so
recently he was like going insane. It was hilarious.
The number 2 is Washington Times, so that's conservative bias, but it's a well-known publication, kind of. Washington Times, journalist not. Saudi government funded extremism in U.S. mosques and charities report. Saudi Arabia was funding Muslim radicalism in mosques and charities at the time the September 11th, 2001 hijackers were gathering in the United States and making contacts.
It stands to reason Wahhabism is basically radical Islam.
Listen to this fucking paragraph. To jihadi watchers, the paper confirms their charges that the Saudi government and its wealthy citizens fund extremist teachings in America.
Yeah, but that's not what was in the 9/11 report. They just released.
So what are they claiming? Okay. In the document, one Saudi who was receiving money from Prince Bandar bin Sultan,
Bandar Bush,
at the time,
comes back again.
Made a startling statement to an FBI informant.
Yeah, but do they all hold hands with George W?
The man who had ties to some of the hijackers told agents it would do the U.S. no good to limit entry visas because a sufficient number of Muslims were already in the country to destroy and create an Islamic State. The disclosure was tucked in the 28 pages, a long secret chapter in a 2002 report by the House and Senate intelligence committees after an investigation in the immediate aftermath of Al-Qaeda attacks on the World Trade Center. This all sounds really circumstantial. This doesn't sound convincing at all.
It was like it was supposed to be like a bombshell release, and then it came out, and it was like so minor that I can't even remember what it was.
But here's my thing, like,
and supposedly I have a brain. I don't know. I don't know if that's true.
Hey, you're on the winning side here, bud.
Doesn't everybody have the right to sue anybody? Like, can't I sue you for essentially like we'll go to court and it'll be heard out, and the judge will say that's bullshit or it's not.
I don't know. I know the administration is making something of like diplomatic protection too.
They're saying that the U.S. could be sued. You were saying with Shane, right?
Yeah.
So like we could be sued, but. So what? I mean,
even for like drone strikes, I guess they don't want, stuff that's like blatant acts of war.
How is this even enforceable? I mean, if let's say they won somehow, I mean, what is going to happen then?
Yeah, no.
The executive is Interpol going to come and say like you have to pay, or
and the executive branch like runs our foreign relations, right?
Yeah, through the Department of State, I would assume.
Yeah, so they would be the ones actually enforcing the law.
I don't really know, honestly.
Checks and balances.
It's all quite Byzantine, really.
Well, you have legislation passed. Check on that as president says no. Check on that as it's overridden. Check on that as the executive branch says, fuck you, we're not enforcing that.
Pocket veto, and then he's out in 90 days.
What's 9/11 anyway?
Hey, it's amazing, man. There's a lot of fucking middle schoolers who weren't alive when that.
I know,
was,
and they don't
old,
like.
It's old
when you're
now.
a kid, it's not like your parents tell you about. This day, like a bunch of people died.
Where were you when the plane hit them towers?
There are soldiers going to Iraq and Afghanistan that were 3 years old when 9/11
Sure.
happened. So they don't remember.
Yeah,
it's this fucking archaic thing. It would be like
it's like Pearl Harbor,
or like if the Gulf War. Like we don't really remember the Gulf War, right? Or it's like one of our earliest memories.
Yeah, very vaguely.
It would be like if that started this and we were still at war or something. Which actually, maybe that is the case.
Unfinished business. Like ghosts.
Got to finish what Daddy started.
I don't know if you guys want to talk about this briefly too, but a big story, and I was reading those headlines a little earlier. I didn't read the Fox
headlines.
I didn't read the
ripped
Fox
from today's headlines.
but I was reading the reactions to the debate last night. The Fox News main headline was about how Donald Trump was against the Iraq War, which is a really...
Oh, yeah, it said Lester
Ask Sean Hannity.
But it's a weird dynamic. I'll just read this. So 2003 clip backs up Trump on Iraq war position. After all the clamor of the moderators to fact check the candidates during Monday night's presidential debate, Donald Trump flipped the script on Lester Holt by rejecting his assertion Trump backed the war in Iraq and history backs the Donald. Cavuto himself, Neil Cavuto, picked up the thread post-debate of Fox Business Network, unearthing the clip Trump referenced from January 28th, 2003, nearly 2 months before the Iraq war began on March 20th.
Didn't the Howard Stern thing even predate
No, it was.
that?
You're right. So the Howard Stern thing was, he said...
Yeah, and Trump talked about that too. He was like, I didn't know much about it. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever.
But this is pre-invasion still. It's 2 months before. Trump said, quote, "Well, I'm starting to think that people are much more focused now on the economy," Trump said. "They're getting a little bit tired of hearing we're going in, we're not going in. Whatever happened to the days of Douglas MacArthur? Either do it or don't do it. Perhaps he shouldn't be doing it yet, and perhaps we should be waiting on the United Nations." So honestly, like to me, when I hear the Howard Stern thing and I hear this, it just sounds like he didn't fucking know. Like which is what he does a lot. He goes on both sides of an issue. He'll say yes and no at the same time, and that's what he did with Iraq.
Whenever he's in front of an audience, he says what they want to hear. So he's talking to the business guy. He was talking to Cavuto in that interview. So he's the business
Fox
guy.
Business, yeah.
But yeah. I mean, the other thing, I know, like, I can see holding Clinton accountable for, like, Libya and stuff, but I think it's almost, sure, she voted for the Iraq war, but, I don't know, let's say, oh, you invaded Iraq. That's a little disingenuous.
But she has been on that side.
No, I'm not disagreeing
every single
with that.
one.
She's very pro-military.
In Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, the Clinton Foundation helped give arms to the Saudi Arabian government. Like, on all these issues, she has been on the pro-war side.
Sure. I'm just saying, say, oh, you invaded Iraq. That's
No, I agree.
And say, oh,
I think she's mutually culpable with Cheney or Rumsfeld or those type of people.
You think she's on the same level? She's
I mean, she consented. Because she was a leader of the Democratic Party. She could have stood up there boldly and said, "No, the Democratic Party stands against this war unequivocally. We do not want our soldiers dying in foreign lands for oil." That would have been fucking amazing. She would have been.
But she does. People talk about how Trump's going to blow up the world and stuff like that, or Josh mentioned that. I was like, who's really the bigger hawk? I mean, really think about it,
Well, I mean, Trump has no history.
He has not been elected
policy
office,
making,
right?
So you don't know.
Well, that's granted, sure.
So you have no idea.
But he has taken that position, and he has actually been brave about it. So,
brave.
He stood on a stage.
It wasn't in 2003,
but he stood on a stage in South Carolina.
There was a lot of anti-war sentiment in 2003.
In South Carolina earlier this year, they had a Republican debate.
Trump's people?
He should do a campaign ad where he's in a hammock with like a shit ton of little Indian kids or something.
Makes sense.
I love these brown kids. I
They're
do.
just playing and
they're great janitors.
And stuff, and he's just having a good old time. He needs to really ramp it up.
So,
yeah, or like go to the border.
We're talking about the Saudi thing. That's where we started.
Yeah, I think that Americans should be allowed to sue Saudi Arabia if they want to, but I don't think the government should give them assistance in doing so. I think if they want to take it upon themselves to sue a fucking foreign country, an OPEC nation, then they can do it themselves like any honest American would. But I don't think the government should be giving them a leg up in doing so. I don't think it should be the government's responsibility to facilitate.
Well, I don't know if that's...
but we've had a special relationship with Saudi Arabia since the end of Bretton Woods in the 70s. Like Nixon and Kissinger engineered that relationship.
Yeah, so then the U.S. government should be responsible. I think it's like deferring it's like just shifting the blame away. If you want to blame Saudi Arabia's partnership with the United States and force them to pay, I think the United States should just be responsible anyways for getting in bed with that crazy fucking country to begin with.
Oh, yeah, they're crazy.
Well, sometimes
fucking crazy. Like, I'm going to behead you in the middle of the street for adultery.
Or writing a poem about Muhammad.
Right. Claiming that you're an atheist.
Now, are ISIS considered Wahhabis or...
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia likes them, don't they?
Yes, they do. And there was this week there was a report in the German media about an Al-Nusra Front representative saying that they get funded by the CIA. And I mean, look at Rambo 3. I mean, that's really all you have to say. Fucking Rambo is, Mr. America fighting with Taliban against Russia. I mean, have we forgotten about that? Is there collective amnesia? Is that no longer involved in reality?
But let's take a factual perspective. Like, when they were related? Like, we helped the Mujahideen.
Yeah.
When did they disconnect? What year did they disconnect? When did that relationship?
2000. When they completely stopped the heroin output of Afghanistan, it became a problem for the Skull and Bones pirates who fucking run the world through drugs, slavery, and weapons.
I don't know. Patrick, what do you think? When do you think that relationship stopped between the CIA and the Mujahideen?
Yeah, Skull and Bones.
What's
on the pirate flag? Skull and Bones.
Blackbeard.
Yeah. I don't give a fuck, really.
Okay. Well, any final political thoughts? I did want to talk briefly about sports.
I will say, just finally, Trump's going to get lambasted for saying that his temperament is more suitable. Yeah. But I think that's true. I think it's true. You want to talk about a guy who wants to do business. Business is not war. War is a separate set of business that he doesn't have anything to do with. So, like, who's really the bigger hawk? Like, what are you supporting when you say that you want Clinton to be president? I mean, you're talking about smart power. She said it herself in the primary debates.
Any final responses, Patrick?
No. Yeah. I mean, I like them both, so I'll probably not vote for either of them because,
Sound logic.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about football. The fucking Pats. Jack, as somebody who hates the Patriots, what are you thinking right now? They've had two different they have the second string quarterback.
Tom Brady was the second string.
He was? Oh, yeah, for Bledsoe.
Yeah, the broken thumb started that whole fucking dynasty.
So they got their third and fourth string quarterbacks.
Yeah, because Bledsoe is a master. He's a master of what he does.
You mean Belichick?
I'm sorry, yeah, Belichick.
I don't know what Drew Bledsoe does.
No, Drew Bledsoe, he's selling cars in Dallas or some shit.
Once I drove by Drew Bledsoe's house, and he had a jet ski in the front yard, so that was
nice.
Awesome.
Did you throw eggs at it?
Oh, I was a Patriots fan.
Oh, too bad. But yeah, he's a master of what he does. Like the depth chart depth that Belichick can create through appropriate drafting and free agent acquisitions is something to marvel at. The Bills are 0-2 right now, so I don't really...
No, they won.
Oh, they did?
They beat Arizona.
Nice.
No, they fucking clobbered them. That was like a big upset, wasn't it?
I think Arizona sucks this year. Like, you never know.
No, but didn't they beat the Seahawks? I thought they beat the
Seahawks suck even more.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they can't the QB pressure, if you can stop the QB pressure, you pretty much have the Seahawks solved.
Well, the Seahawks did win Sunday, but I think the first game of the year they scored like 9 points, and the second game of the year they scored 6 points.
9 points? Is that safety?
No, that's 3 field goals.
There, okay.
But just on the Pats game, 27-0. That's pretty fucking insane. Is that all?
With a third string quarterback with a sprained thumb for the last quarter.
So does that prove that Belichick really is a great coach?
I don't think anyone disputes that.
I don't think it needs to be proven.
I mean, Emperor Palpatine was a great emperor.
Well, I mean, he's always... I think people who dislike the Patriots will, they'll pick out the moments when they've been caught
cheating.
Gaining competitive advantages whenever possible. But every
misinterpret the rules, whatever.
Every team does that, and if a team doesn't do that, then the coaching staff is doing a disservice to the players, I think.
I don't think they should cheat, but I think that Belichick is a good coach separate from the cheating. I think, yes, maybe he did cheat, but he's still a great coach, right?
Yeah, I don't think anyone doubts that.
Yeah, I wouldn't say
so. Is he the greatest of all time?
I don't know. Like, football is a game that just kind of throws away its history, I feel. It's not like baseball, which is like so
reverent.
Yeah, no, you could name a football player, like maybe the greatest football player from 1962. I wouldn't know the fuck who it was.
Bart Starr.
Well, name a receiver from 1962 or something.
Mercury Morris.
I don't know who that is.
From the undefeated Dolphins.
From 1962? I said 1962.
Tombstone Pizza used to sell.
But, you could say Mickey. You could name all sorts of baseball players from, like, the
Bronco Nagurski don't wear no helmet.
So I think,
Ken Stabler.
He's a Hall of Famer.
Red Grange.
Okay, so Jack brought up the Bills. The Bills did just beat the Cardinals. They blew them out. So what's going to happen next week?
When they play the Patriots?
They're going to get
Well, first of all, who the fuck is the quarterback? Is it Janine Garofalo?
Tyrod Taylor.
No, for the Patriots. Well, both of their quarterbacks were at practice today, so I think if Garoppolo is healthy enough, or Garofalo. Is it Garofalo? It's Garofalo.
I think it's Janine Garofalo.
What's Janine?
Jimmy Garofalo.
No, it's Garoppolo then.
I know.
It's the opposite.
It's Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, it's the opposite of Janine Garofalo. It's got a P. It's got a P.
That's my cue.
No, it's got a P instead of an F.
So is this the last game of Brady's
Which in
suspension?
Greek is phi, so it's both.
Is this Bills game the last game of Brady's suspension?
Yes.
Oh, so he's coming back. So
yeah, so
it's pretty much determined.
Worst case scenario
they're going to win the AFC East.
Well, who knows?
Yeah, right. He'll be busy pounding.
Worst case scenario is that they're 3-1. Best case scenario, they're undefeated without their Hall of Fame quarterback ever taking the field. Or,
can you imagine if they win the fucking ring?
And Gronkowski really
Belichick
hasn't played at all.
Yeah, he's been injured a lot.
Yeah, and Rob Ninkovich has been suspended.
Well, you know what's fucking hilarious is
he misinterpreted the rules. What
is the next?
Every team has a player.
The next quarterback in line is fucking Edelman. Can you imagine Edelman being the fucking quarterback?
He's a pretty good quarterback, actually.
I've heard contrary. I've heard his college football tapes. He looks like shit. He just runs all the time.
Well, he was a starting quarterback, so whatever. It's something.
Yeah, you never seen that little flea flicker play they do where they pass it to him and he throws it downfield and it fucking fucks up the defense.
I don't know if I've seen one with him, but I've seen some college football games where they do the flea flicker like fucking.
Well, I would imagine if he had to be quarterback, he would be kind of an option quarterback. Where
it'd be like a wildcat kind of thing.
Yeah, he'd like run to the line of scrimmage and maybe throw the ball if someone's open down the field or just run it.
But Belichick does have the capability to handle that sort of thing. Like they're all about the weird gadgets. You remember the flutie like pooch kick weird shit they did? Like Belichick studies the game. He's a scholar of the game. I'll give him that. But it doesn't make you have to like him, you know?
Well, now that you
have to respect him.
There's
even if he's a villain, you have to respect him.
Like Hillary Clinton. I'm sure the Wehrmacht on the Eastern Front was very respectable to the Soviets, you know? Like
before Aaron Hernandez was a convicted killer. Like just randomly in this playoff game, they had him line up in the backfield like a running back. They hadn't done it all year. All of a sudden, they're doing this all game long, and I think it was against the Broncos or something. And they didn't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it just fucks them up.
Yeah.
All right, so the Pats are going to win the fucking AFC East, right?
Well, in all fairness, their competition's not
the Jets, the Dolphins, and the Bills are all 1-2 right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a long
because it's the Jets, the Dolphins,
but Brady's
and the
coming
Bills.
back. Patrick, do you think it's possible Brady could come back and suck? Wouldn't that be something if he just came back and was terrible?
He'd go into pouty Brady mode. I'm, you know, like I say that as derogatory, but he gets in these weird funks, right? Where he like slams his helmet and sort of pouts on the sideline, and he sucks on those games.
Well, Garoppolo is, I would say, at this point in his career, can throw the ball down the field much more effectively.
Dude, if Brady can play, they're not going to.
No, I'm just saying he can throw like long balls down the field better than Brady can at this point. But if Brady comes in, he knows how to win games. He knows how to get the ball down the field.
Wouldn't that suck if this was like the end of his career because they start kind of phasing towards Garoppolo a little more, and this just spells the end of Brady.
Well, Brady wants to play till
happened to Drew Bledsoe.
Brady wants to play till he's 45. I don't know if that's gonna work, but he's got some sort of like weird health guru that supposedly
like a yoga instructor or something.
The mattress professional. Do you need anything else, Mr. Brady? No, nothing.
Todd Lydell.
No, you ever see that mattress commercial with Tom Brady?
Oh, yeah.
Where he's like, "Oh, Mr. Brady, his sweet is ready," and he brings him this, and he's like, "Do you need anything else, Mr. Brady?" No, nothing.
Yeah, Tom Brady's commercial choices are kind of poor.
Do you remember that big billboard that was in front of our house, and it was Tom Brady holding the bacon, egg, and cheese Dunkin' Donut sandwich, just smiling? It's like, I wish I had that picture.
Well, that's like a local thing, like a regional thing, but like his best known like national like campaign was for Uggs.
Really?
Yeah.
I never saw that.
Wasn't he in Ted?
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah, they were jerking him off, I think.
Yeah, and he like freaks out, like, and he screams at him.
Luckily, Peyton Manning retired, so he has more time to focus on commercials.
Hey,
now.
Papa.
He was I've seen commercials Peyton Manning's in for things I've never heard of. Like restaurants I've never heard of.
Papa Bear.
What's that payment on Sunday morning? What is that? It's a grocery store or card? It's a credit card, right?
No, it's insurance, I think.
Insurance?
Nationwide? It's nationwide.
But Lionel Richie? Peyton?
Oh, that might be for TV because like he's inviting Eli over to like it's direct TV.
Right.
I see them all.
All right, let's talk about the other 3-0 teams real quick.
You know, it's funny, actually, just real quick. The first time I ever heard of Peyton Manning, it was from a Gatorade commercial. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that? Like his first year where he's like driving the forklift and he crashes into the pallet of Gatorade. I was like, who is this fucking guy?
Splashed all over.
No, I remember I was a big football fan at the time, so I remember him as the Colts quarterback that they couldn't protect when they played the Patriots, and they just sack him all the time. Because they were, these good players get drafted out of college onto like
first rounds, or first pick.
Except if you're going to talk about the Eagles.
Well, let's just can we run through the other 3-0 teams?
Let's say
because there's a few 3-0 teams.
Let them talk, Steve. Let them talk.
Start with the Eagles.
Okay, let's talk about Eagles. NFC East.
Well, they were a shitty team last year, and they drafted this quarterback number 2, and all of a sudden they're 3-0.
So what does that prove?
I don't know.
Quarterbacks are very important to the game.
Maybe it proves that Chip Kelly is a shitty coach at the NFL level. I don't know.
I think it proves the fucking NFC East sucks. Then the Redskins and the Giants and the fucking
Giants
Cowboys.
Aren't bad.
I like JPP walking around with his like mangled claw hand. Do you see him like on the highlights? He's like got the fucking like missing a finger.
He's suing ESPN because Adam Schefter,
Pierre-Paul.
Jason Pierre-Paul. He's suing ESPN because Adam Schefter tweeted out a picture that he received from some source at the hospital of his blown off fingers, his hand blown off, like it was a personal like medical thing. So now he's suing ESPN for damages.
Nice.
Yeah. So
what happened to him?
He blew off his hand with fireworks,
fingers.
2 years ago.
A few fingers.
And he was out for the season and was like a big thing.
He came back towards the end of the season.
Did he?
Yeah.
But it was like a big thing for Giants fans because he like was a great pass rusher and he fucked his hand up.
He's still pretty good though.
Well, yeah. Why do you need a hand for that?
Well, he's got the big like taped up.
Yeah, the mitt.
So just on a side note, last week the Giants beat the Saints. And the Saints just lost to the fucking Falcons last night. If you guys
on the least watched Monday Night Football game of all time,
probably. But they got destroyed.
It was $8 million viewers compared to 80 million.
Yeah, they got demolished. But so the Saints are 0-3 now. Do the Saints suck? Or the Saints a bad
Trump
team
should
again?
use that as a campaign platform. Like, yeah, we beat Monday Night Football. It was a huge upset.
I don't know. I haven't watched them play yet, but they got.
You didn't watch that last night?
I was watching the debate for this.
But after it was like the final quarter.
Until like 1 in the morning or whatever.
After the debate, I think I went to bed.
Well, the Saints are 0-3. Do you think they're a bad team now?
Well, they're 0-3, so
they're one of the few.
The record demonstrates they suck.
The Bears, the Jags, the Browns are the only other 0-3
Yeah,
teams.
Those seem like the usual suspects.
Yeah.
The Browns. So first they started Robert Griffin as quarterback. He got injured the first game. Then who'd they bring in the second game? McCown, and he got injured, so I don't even know who their fucking quarterback's going to be now. Maybe Tyrell Pryor.
Did you, as a addendum to the Browns discussion, did you see Shane on Instagram?
No, what's happening?
Talking about how Baltimore sucks.
Shane's got an Instagram account.
I think it was either Gianna's or
Should we be
Tom.
talking about this on air?
Yeah, why not?
Shane.
He's a public figure.
He went to Cleveland with Gianna, her mother, her father, who are divorced, her boyfriends, and her best friend.
Wow.
And he got
He has a best friend? I thought Shane was...
Yeah, Marie.
Oh, is he... what's happening with Marie?
Okay.
Nothing.
Maybe you're right, Patrick. This isn't relevant to the conversation.
But Baltimore sucks! And he yelled it at the Foreigner concert, actually. There's a video of that as well, if you're interested.
Oh, he went to the Foreigner concert?
Yeah, I saw him for like 20 minutes at the Durham Fair.
Oh, did he sneak off?
No, we were supposed to meet up.
So he came in late.
It was supposed to be our night, okay?
He came in halfway through the show. Was he drunk and disruptive?
No. It was actually a dry fair. We snuck in some liquor. I told him to get me Bacardi. He got me cinnamon whiskey, which is nothing like Bacardi, and it was disgusting in my Lime Ricky.
Okay. So the other three
there watching
teams.
Foreigner alone.
I was with Megan and the kids.
Oh, that's hardly the same as Shane, though.
Exactly. So he was on the other side, and he was sticking with Gianna. Gianna yelled at me for being in her way. I was smoking a cigarette. A lady yelled at me next for being allergic to cigarette smoke. So I just got the fuck out of there and went back to my family.
So, guys, Broncos. The Broncos are 3-0.
Yeah, they also have this guy named Simeon playing quarterback who, is nothing, so who knows.
Although it's spelled like German for semen, like Siemens, the industrial company.
No.
So are they going to win that division?
Yeah, the West, I don't know, the Raiders are kind of good this year.
2-1. You know, it sucks analyzing this early.
With gambling Jack Del Rio at the helm.
How about the Vikings?
Oh, he's their head coach?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
How about the Vikings? They're the last 3-0 team.
Well, who's their quarterback now? The guy on the Eagles last year.
Bridgewater, right?
No, he got injured.
Oh, really?
Preseason is out for the year. It's what's his
Bradford?
name? Yeah, Sam Bradford.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Glass Bradford. Because he breaks like glass if you touch him.
Holy shit. I never used the NFL mobile site before. This shit sucks. Look at this. I don't know what I'm doing. This is a sea of purple.
It's the Vikings page.
You should have the ESPN app.
Westchester Market.
Oh, yeah.
You should get ESPN
Got
application.
pubes in it and everything.
Watch games right on your phone.
Some pubes or some weird hair.
So, Patrick, last thing I want to talk about tonight is baseball. We got the
baseball.
postseason coming up. I think it's going to be a Red Sox-Cubs World Series. The Cubs just got their 100th win last night over the Pirates, which was kind of bittersweet.
I will announce that it's going to be a Red Sox-Dodgers World Series.
Dude, you're always rooting for the fucking Dodgers. What's so great about the Dodgers?
I like watching games in their stadium or watching it on baseball. And it would be cool in Vince Scully's last season if the Dodgers got to the World Series. I hope the Red Sox beat them. And
the Cubs haven't won in like 108 years. You know,
that's cool. I hope it keeps going. They're
going to come.
Years.
It's going to be the NLCS.
As a Red Sox fan, when it doesn't work, you kind of lose the mojo when it finally happens. You know, it's like if Ginger were to catch a squirrel, what do you do?
Well, if it happened once and then it didn't happen again, you'd lose your identity. But when it happens every 3 years, it's kind of cool.
So interesting. The Cubs are 156. It's their best record in like 80 years or something like that.
Huh? Oh, 156. Like
yeah.
150.
I was about to say 156. Holy shit, they're good.
The next best teams are the Red Sox and the the Rangers. Texans.
They should be called the Texans.
They should be. Texas Texans.
Texas Texans from Texas. The Texans of Texas, of Arlington, Texas.
It's a fucking dumb name, isn't it? Texas Rangers. So
no, it's a.
Why don't you talk to Cordell Walker and see if that's a dumb name? Okay.
Yeah, really.
Can we name him after you?
The Texas Steves. How about the Austin Steves?
Whiskey
that'd be
Pete.
pretty cool, actually.
Dallas Durrells.
So how do you think the playoffs are going to turn out, Patrick? You don't think the Cubs are going to come out on top? I'd like to see that, honestly. I'd like to see them win the first time in
rarely
108
wins
years.
In baseball, the team with the best record rarely wins the World Series.
So who has the best shot?
Well, the Red Sox are red hot right now. They're going in the playoffs with all the momentum. So are the Dodgers. That's why I picked them.
How are the Mets doing since DeGrom got hurt?
Well, they also lost Mats for the season, most likely. So their pitchers are Syndergaard and Cologne. And Cologne's a 43-year-old man who weighs 250 pounds. So.
And they got the wild card, right?
Sounds like a Hispanic Kenny Powers.
The Nationals got the East, right?
The Mets and the Giants have the same record, so
right.
they're the.
Dude, you almost feel bad for the fucking Cardinals fans.
The Cardinals are looking right. They're right behind though. They're not too far back.
Yeah, man, but I don't think they're going to catch up. You know what's actually funny too? They're talking about there could be a 3-way tie.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So then, like, I think it's the Cardinals and the Giants. Am I right? Maybe the Mets. The Cardinals and some other team would play off to face the other team. It's like based on individual records against each other.
That would be cool. I like these one-game series. They're pretty interesting. Although the teams hate them because, you play 162 games and your season comes down to one game.
Well, it's funny that 3 AL East teams are going to the playoffs.
Oh, that's the best division in the league by far. Probably in the entire Major League Baseball. Even better than the NL Central this year.
I bet it's going to be like the fucking Orioles. It's going to be one of those sleeper teams, that nobody's really
maybe. The Orioles don't have the starting pitching, though. Their starting pitching's terrible.
They got a great getting home field advantage, getting lucky.
The Orioles?
Yeah.
They wouldn't get home field. If they were the wild card team, they wouldn't have the home field advantage.
The Blue Jays are in front of them? Yeah, right, because they fell apart. Unless the Yankees make it in, but I don't think they're going to.
No, they're too far behind. They got the Tigers and the Astros in front of them, too.
Yeah, what happened to what happened to the Royals, actually?
They've just been playing average baseball all year. They haven't really done anything spectacular.
But why did their team fall apart?
I think
league champions last year.
I'm not sure. I don't follow the American League Central as closely as I follow the American League East. I guess the Indians are much better this year. I mean, the Tigers are just as good as they've always been in recent history.
Honestly, dude, that would be an amazing World Series too. Indians and Cubs. Because you think of the history, you think of that part of the country where it's
Well,
fucking
I
Rust Belt.
think the safe bet would be the Indians because it seems like if a town's like NBA team wins a championship, then the baseball team wins a championship. It seems like these things happen all at once,
Right.
like it happened to the Red Sox a few years ago, where the Red Sox and the
Why does that happen? Money just gravitates to these cities?
no, I think it's just a fluke. It's just like a chance. I mean, it doesn't happen every year, but it seems like it happens enough to take notice. So that'd be something.
There probably is some kind of interesting
And like I think the Giants,
confluence there.
the Giants and the Warriors won last. No, the Giants didn't win last year. The Royals did. Yeah.
I just like to take a moment to plug Westchester Market Grinders. They're great.
It's got too much meat, in my opinion.
There is no such thing.
Yeah, but look at it like it's so red. It's like the
All right,
And it's spicy.
perfect.
the last
recipe.
thing of tonight, we're going to nearly close. McG, I just want you to know, we're going to close out pretty soon. But I just want to get your guys' thoughts on this.
Hurry the fuck up.
Whenever you're ready.
I've been thinking about this for a while, and I take it seriously. I think that I was like raised by TV to some regard, right? Because I had parents who were divorced, and
Cable guy.
exactly. So I've given this much thought, and I came up with my list of the top 30 TV shows. I want to give you my
30?
top 10
Oh my god.
and get your response on this.
Jeez, that's an ambitious list.
I'll give you the top 11. Number 11, I put I Love Lucy. Number 10, I put It's Always Sunny, which I think.
Way too high.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, not better than I Love Lucy.
Come on, man. Really, Jack? You're gonna say that? You like I Love Lucy that much?
Well,
Yeah, it was one of my favorite shows on Nick and Night growing up.
And
Me too,
also,
but-
I Love Lucy helped like invent the sitcom.
Sitcom, yeah.
So you're saying, I mean, that's a funny show, but I don't know.
All right. You're probably right. Number 9, Twilight Zone. Number 8, South Park. 7, Star Trek. 6, All in the Family. Star Trek's good, goddammit. It's the best sci-fi
Which
show
one?
ever.
It is boring.
It's not boring.
That's
Next
the show I used to. I always used to put
Next
like.
Generation?
I don't
No,
think
the
it's
first one.
original.
I used to always put that on like in the afternoon when I was like a kid. I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool, but I'd always just fall asleep.
Yeah, boring.
It's
Fucking boring.
But it's about topics that mattered. It was about race relations and war and fucking hippies and
Yeah,
all
in
that
the
shit.
60s.
All right,
It mattered then.
continue.
Yeah,
It
that.
mattered so much that it was canceled after 3 seasons.
6 is All in the Family. You guys got to give me that one. All in the Family. Come on.
It's a good show.
That's all right.
5, The Simpsons. 4, Seinfeld. 3, Mad Men.
They put Seinfeld above The Simpsons.
Yeah. Because it was consistently good, where The Simpsons has sucked for most of its run.
Yeah, but it's been around 10 times longer than the Seinfeld.
Yeah, but the quality hasn't maintained over those. You know, you could.
Yeah.
The Rolling
Seinfeld
Stones have
got-
Like
been
consistently,
around
like as one fucking.
Rolling Stones
hill.
have been around like 5 times as long as the Beatles, but you can't say, oh, that makes them a better band than the Beatles. Unless
I know. I'm not saying just because of the length. I'm just saying that, you know, my mind personally, I don't know about if I can speak for everyone at this table, but when I think of things, they usually relate to The Simpsons somehow. Like it has completely shaped my psyche.
Yeah, I agree.
That would make it number one,
But
really.
you know what, Jack? I felt kind of bad. Well, they were both mid 90s shows, but I felt kind of bad because this list was really kind of geared towards millennials in a way. Like number 18 or 19 was Batman in the animated series. So like a fucking person that was born before the mid 80s isn't going to agree with that.
Are you writing lists for BuzzFeed now or something?
No, just kind of keep myself occupied.
Steve loves putting things in
All right, top
ordinal
three. Top 3.
lines.
Top 3
Order.
what?
Top 3 TV shows ever made. Number 3, Mad Men.
It's good.
It's a top 3? No way.
I don't think it's consistently good
For
through its
Christina
entire
Hendricks'
run.
boobs? Yes.
I think it's good, but it's
Top
not
3.
like maybe
Great
it's,
show, but
maybe it's
Great
like
boobs.
23.
shows have great boobs.
Great boobs.
Number 2, Breaking Bad.
Top 2, number 1 and number 2. Christina Hendricks, right and left.
Number 2 is Breaking Bad. You guys give me that one.
I
Good
mean,
show.
I think it's a little overrated. A little, not on your list, but just in general, it's a good show, but it's not like I don't know.
Why is it
Well,
overrated though? Like it's
I
very
have a hard
existential.
time. Like for me personally, it doesn't have a lot of rewatchability. Like I watched it once, and it seems I'll try to watch it again. And it seems like that's enough time.
Because you already figure out what happens.
Yeah, once you blow your load on the mystery of it all.
But I can watch Twin Peaks over and over again. Like,
but the great thing about Breaking Bad is he gets more evil
because that show's so layered.
Yeah.
It's like hard to even. You have to watch it 2 or 3 times even to figure out what the fuck is going on.
I mean, Steve's number one is going to be Sopranos. I bet
it is Sopranos,
and
Thanks.
like I could watch that probably multiple times compared to.
So is that the greatest TV show of all time? Do you agree, or do you say I'm full of bullshit?
I don't know. It's
of all time.
I think it's
fucking Sopranos, man. What's better than Sopranos?
I think it's silly to put things in. Sopranos is better than put things in lists is kind of silly. I think saying number one
best TV show's gotta be The Simpsons.
Why is number?
But Jack, it sucked for so long. Like you, I think would be the most vocal critic of this. You know it has sucked for most of its run.
Yeah, but that's like saying the Star Wars sucks because the holiday specials sucked. Like that's not canon. I'm talking about The Simpsons, not this weird.
I think they consider it canon.
Yeah, well, fuck them. Like it doesn't count. It doesn't count. After 2000, it stopped counting.
It's really what frustrates me about these new Simpsons episodes. It's like when they redo like Homer and Marge meeting, and it's all of a sudden it's like grunge kind of era. That's really retarded. I'll give you some shows I think are important shows.
Okay, so give me like your top few. I'm not asking to rank them, but just what are some of the best TV shows?
Saturday Night Live is a very important show.
I put that number 30.
That's a very important show. You say, the quality. It's like The Simpsons.
Because it's not consistent.
But it ebbs and flows though, and I think it's a good picture of where culture is at a time.
Certainly,
even if the show's even if the cast's not great.
I'm sorry, I just have to. One last thing we got to talk about. How is SNL going to make fun of this first debate? Because this Saturday they are going to do a skit.
How is South Park going to make fun of it? That's what I'm looking for.
Probably is Daryl Hammond still going to be playing Trump this year? Yeah. I hope so.
Yeah, he'll come.
It would be amazing if Trump wins the election and Daryl Hammond becomes a cast member again.
Specifically for Trump.
Yeah, he'll be the first guy who is.
Well, same with Amy Poehler, right? She'd have to come back.
No, but she doesn't play Hillary. The other lady plays.
Oh,
Hillary.
You're right. Yeah, they passed it, right?
Yeah. Because she probably does a better Hillary.
Okay, but this Saturday night, how is SNL going to make fun of this debate? I think it's going to be Trump sniffing and freaking out,
and Hillary smiling.
Yeah,
that's going to be, that's the thing to take away from
that creepy fucking reptilian smile of hers.
But so Saturday Night Live, Late Night with David Letterman. It was a very good show, very important show.
That was like 25 for me.
Larry Sanders Show is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, I struggled with that. Dude, you know what I had the hardest with was because I made it like a finite amount, was the last spot. I'm like, it's going to be Arrested Development, which I went with, or Larry Sanders or Ben Stiller show.
But the Arrested Development was on two really good seasons, and then season 3 kind of sucks, and then
Netflix sucks.
The Netflix one sucks hard because they're not there all together. It's so obvious. So I have trouble saying, that's a great show. It was a good show the first 2 years. Season 3's all right, and season 4 is not so great. But
okay, so SNL, Larry Sanders. What else are the best?
Well, Late Night with David Letterman. I like 90s Conan a lot.
Yeah, that shit is hilarious.
Louis. Louis.
Yeah, Louis was
good.
13 for me. Good. No, I agree. He was up there. I put up there high too. You guys are probably gonna piss because I don't know if any of you watched it, but have any of you seen Rick and Morty?
Yeah,
that's a really good fucking show. It's so weird, man. It's funny and it's weird.
Gives that really high recommendations. I've heard from Trevor. I've heard from you. You've talked about how you liked it.
Yeah.
Brandel probably
just doesn't do it for me.
Yeah, it's like this new Adult
a lot of that
Swim
Adult
stuff.
Swim shit. Even the new Adult Swim shit has turned me off so much. I don't even like the old Adult Swim stuff. I watch Tom Goes to the Mayor now, and I'm like, man, I don't really like where this was making people.
Do you think it's Tim and Eric's fault?
I think they have a large part of it.
Yeah.
Just this sort of non sequitur stuff,
Eric
was
Andre.
funny and weird, but now is just totally overdone.
But Rick and Morty at least has sort of a throwback to
it's story based at least.
Story based.
It's really weird.
Smart.
The characters are really bizarre.
Smart, it's not absolutely dumb. It's kind of self-aware of this ridiculous. It's really self-aware of this ridiculous world that it exists in. the end of the first season, like Rick kind of has this existential crisis and has this huge party with all these people from different dimensions, and they end up just I don't know. And then I don't want to give spoilers, but
give spoilers.
The second,
do it.
He ends up turning himself into like the intergalactic government. And
why did you tell?
Damn it.
Yeah, so
that's a cool show.
Twin Peaks is like my favorite show.
Come on, dude.
Yeah, it's
fucking painful.
Twin Peaks had the scariest moment.
I don't know, man. The overacting and
because it's like a soap opera.
One arm.
I'm
just a fucking retard. I guess. I don't get it. Is it supposed to be like the whole thing is satirical?
It's supposed to be like a soap opera. That's why, in the first season when there's like a soap opera on the TV all the time, things happen on that soap opera, and then episodes later, the same things happen in the real show.
So it's like semi-satirical, like half satirical.
Yeah, it's
meta. It's meta.
It's a send-off on a soap opera, I think. That's my interpretation of it.
Okay, so Rob, I want to hear from you. What are your top few TV shows ever, like of all time, the history of television, even Netflix? Let's
shows that I like to watch.
Rob loves the Golden Girls. Did you ever ask him about that?
Frasier, Suddenly Susan,
Single Guy, Caroline in the City.
Just shoot me.
I really liked
Veronica's Closet.
When I was a kid.
Perfect Strangers.
I liked to watch the A-Team. That was.
Really?
Yeah, the A-Team was pretty cool. I liked MacGyver a lot when I was a kid.
That's cool. I never really watched those shows like that and Baywatch and shit.
No, I never watched Baywatch.
It's great. I watched Walker, Texas Ranger. Definitely one of my favorites.
Speaking of,
because I would watch like USA Network and stuff, and USA always had like Walker and MacGyver. And,
remember Weird Science? The TV Weird Science.
Yeah, I remember like the girl was pretty hot, and it was on too late for me to watch or something.
Do you want to hear something funny? Speaking of Twin Peaks and Baywatch, there's like this extra from some Twin Peaks DVD set where like the chick who plays the waitress in the diner that dates Leo, she's being interviewed by David Lynch.
Leo's such a jerk.
She's being interviewed by David Lynch, and David Lynch asks her if Twin Peaks was her first TV show, and she says, no, I had a small part on Baywatch before Twin Peaks. David Lynch had never heard of Twin Peaks or Baywatch, so this actress had to explain to him what Baywatch was.
They're like these lifeguards, but they're also kind of like cops.
Oh, so it takes place on a beach.
Some sort of bay that they watch.
Oh, I see. So there's guys and girls.
So Rob, your top few TV shows ever.
I don't know.
Rob likes Walking Dead.
For like nostalgia.
Yeah, when you say like fucking like that modern shit, Walking Dead,
Game of Thrones. He likes Game of Thrones so much. This guy dresses up like characters from Game of Thrones.
I dressed up as a monster from Game of Thrones.
It's pretty cool.
That's a character. I'm not.
Yeah.
A monstrous character.
Did my own makeup and everything.
So what are the top few?
Huh?
What are the top few of all time?
I don't know. There's been good shows that I've gotten into and kind of been let down.
You know what I felt like guilty not including was Trailer Park Boys, because you're a big fan of that, right?
Trailer Park Boys is a really funny show. It's sort of something you have to want to watch and want to get into.
I know one guy who really wants to watch it all the time.
Shane. It is a funny show. Trailer Park Boys is a pretty funny show, but shit, Louis is a really good show. Like I really like watching Louis.
Some of those are like movies, like the late night series.
Yeah. The late night one's really good.
The weed one where he's dealing weed.
Oh yeah,
that's a crazy one with Jeremy Renner when he like steals the scales and that was wild.
It's not even like comedy; it's fucking drama.
Yeah, no, it really is. Because he like catches his daughter smoking.
That's what's good about that show.
At school
it can be whatever it wants.
Yeah, man, like the Robin Williams one, or before he fucking
really
died.
Weird.
That's
it's really weird too. Yeah, Louis is a really good show. I really like Sunny because it's sort of like my Seinfeld. You know, like I used to go to bed listening to my parents watching Seinfeld as it was, premiering, and them laughing their asses off, and then me, I'm able to see Sunnies as they come out, and get to enjoy them fresh.
Longest running live action sitcom that's still on TV.
And I will argue that, like other shows, the quality hasn't been as good as it hasn't lived up to earlier episodes, which I think hurts it. I just know,
dude. Some of the last ones. Did you see the one?
Yeah,
where,
that Day in the Life of Frank one was pretty good.
Oh, I'm sure there's.
Did you see the one where Mac and Dennis were living in the suburbs together?
Oh man,
that fucking thing was hilarious. They're going nuts with the smoke alarm.
I just think that characters have a certain amount of stories that should be like told about them, and then after a while, it's like okay.
But the beauty, what I really love about it's Sunny is that like it started off somewhat normal. It was just friends owning a bar, and then it's just slowly like this craziness crept in, and like you can keep time by how degraded cricket has become. Like you can see, like you can tell if you're watching episodes, like when he's a priest, it's like okay, this is just in the beginning, and then you see him like when he's working in the dog kennel and shit, and he's got one eye missing, and he's running free with the dogs, like wants to be euthanized. It's insane. That show is ridiculous.
All right, Jack. I'm going to give you final thoughts. What are your top TV shows of all time?
I don't know. I don't really have like a list thought up in my head.
But just like tell me what the top few best ones.
Well, like I said, The Simpsons has impacted my brain more than maybe any television show probably should. South Park's another one. Seinfeld. These are all comedies, you know. I can't really think of too many dramas. A lot of the dramas I like happen to be like movies, I guess.
You like Diagnosis Murder, don't you?
No, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, is or Picket Fences.
You like Matlock?
Yeah, well, Heat of the Night is another one my grandma used to watch a lot. But
was Scott Baio in Diagnosis Murder? I think so.
I think so. Yeah,
that's the one with Dick Van Dyke, right?
Yeah,
Dick Van Dyke.
Yeah. As the lead, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of the shows I tend to like are because they're so bad. Like Walker, Texas Ranger, for instance, is a hilarious show. That is one of the funniest shows on the air.
But you're liking things satirically. You're not liking them legitimately.
Ironically.
Yeah, who makes the rules here? It's my list.
But that's how you're ranking them, and like, what's the most bad? That's like,
what's the most funny?
That's like
I will say that.
Hey, what are you gonna do?
I'll say Walker, Texas Ranger is very watchable. Like it's not like there's some shows that are just shitty. It's like I can't.
Yeah, they're just boring.
But it's
Walker's funny every time.
Sometimes watching X-Files, I think, if this went just a little bit wrong, it could have been Walker, Texas Ranger. Because the episodes are kind of like...
Some of them are bad. The lizard person one that
sure,
did it.
But some of the episodes are like... The episodes are structured very similarly to Walker, Texas Ranger.
Well, they are federal agents.
Yeah, it's true.
Kind of like law enforcement, Texas Rangers. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you talk about shows that like have impacted my life personally.
Oh, I know one show that Jack really loves. It's called Becker.
Oh yeah, Becker's great. Becker is one of the worst shows ever. I can't believe they paid people to write that fucking shit.
Oh, you know the guy who is it Matthew Weiner from Mad Men used to be a writer on Becker.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's fucking horrible.
You gotta start somewhere.
I know, but like, what did he start in third grade or something? That is like the worst written show in history. Is Becker?
How do you improve that?
It's so bad.
Well, you go from.
Well, I mean, I know how you would improve.
You go from Becker to The Sopranos, and then you get your own
Becker.
show.
The T stands for terrific.
All right, guys.
I mean, the guy who Mitch Hurwitz from Arrested Development was a writer on The Golden Girls. So
really,
yeah.
All right, guys. 2.5 hours.
Oh, what about The Adventures of Pete and Pete? That's a good show.
That is a good show.
Yeah, definitely the first two seasons.
That's one of those shows that really made you think. Other shows that like blew my mind. Again, the Batman animated series. There's a lot of episodes of that where, like, as a 7 or 8 year old, I was just like, "Whoa," you know. Like the one where he was the Batman robot thought that he was Batman and then had to find out when he repaired himself that he was actually a robot.
I think it's called Your Silicon Soul.
Oh man, that one fucked my head up so bad.
Perchance to Dream too. Remember that one where he dreams that he's not Batman and they didn't discover until he reads the book and he jumps out the fucking clock tower at the end. That's pretty hardcore.
But like, you know, shows like that too. On that same sort of block, WB Kids, Animaniacs, Tiny Toons,
Freakazoid.
Freakazoid, Hysteria. Those are all shows that like really kind of like matured my sense of humor, which sounds stupid because it's gags, but like the Animaniacs were Baloney the dinosaur, because I hated Barney when I was a kid.
But you know what inspired that?
Dropped anvils on him.
Ren and Stimpy inspired that.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Okay, so Ren and Stimpy, that's got to be on my list, too, because that's one of my favorite shows. Beavis and Butthead is one of my favorites.
All of that shit, even Beavis and Butthead.
Liquid Television, too, because that was such a fucked up, tripped out show.
Rocko's Modern Life, like all that shit came from Ren and Stimpy. Like that was the real shift. It was actually the
Well, Ren and Stimpy came from Looney Tunes, you know, so how far back you want to go?
Beavis and Butthead predated Ren and Stimpy, though.
No, it was like 91 versus 94, I think.
They were pretty close.
No, because they were like shorts first.
Yeah, on Liquid Television.
Yeah. There was Frog Ball or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, Frog Baseball.
Yeah.
You are probably right. All right, guys, 2.5 hours. We're going for the all-time record here. So any final thoughts? Rob, let's turn to you real quick. What are your final thoughts tonight? Anything else you want to share?
Just wrapping up the subject of movies, or just in general?
Life.
TV, Rob. TV. Stick with the fucking...
You know, life is
Life is hard.
life's hard. It's a struggle. Sure it is.
Pushing that boulder up the hill only to be tripped
Buddha
up.
said, all life is suffering.
Yep. So
What is life if not to suffer?
just keep on fucking that chicken.
Good advice.
So, you know, every band is derivative of another band. Who do you guys think Hootie and the Blowfish is derivative of? Who do you think Hootie and the Blowfish's biggest influence was?
E Street Band?
Really?
Saxophones.
I don't think there's saxophone in Hootie and Blowfish.
Well, Darius Rucker does country now, right?
Yeah.
So they were probably like big Garth Brooks fans.
Really? I think maybe like REM. Because like they were kind of like a college band to start. Not REM.
Yeah, alternative, you know.
They're kind of like
the 90s.
they're kind of like
alternative wave.
Janglecore. And you kind of hear the birds.
Janglecore, that's a thing.
No, it's not a thing. But like I use that term to kind of talk about bands and like Gin Blossoms, like Spin Doctors.
Yeah, I can see it.
Like REM was really
Playing
influenced by
coffee
the
shops.
Byrds, so then that REM influenced by the Byrds is like gone to Gin Blossoms who just don't know what to do with it, so it's just like kind of horse shit. But yeah.
Any final thoughts, Jack?
But if you were to choose between Hootie or the Blowfish, who would you choose? Like,
Blowfish.
You'd choose the Blowfish? That's a bold choice.
I'm pro Hootie.
You like Hootie?
He made a career afterwards. It's got to say something.
I kind of like the guys. I think the guitar player had like a big, like, I don't know if it was a cowboy hat, but he had like long hair. That guy was pretty cool. I'd like to go golfing with that guy or something.
He's
like,
Fugu of the Blowfish.
They're like bro rock, kind of. Before there was bro rock.
So, Jack,
Bro
you have the final
country.
word tonight. It's been over 2.5 hours. What have we learned?
All right. Yeah, you could be out of touch with reality when reality is totally unreal and idiotic and abstract.
Do you think?
Good message.
Do you think that?
Truth is treason in the kingdom of lies.
Do you think that between
And I've been voted most profound by 1 out of 1 Zaccaros, so I think my final
I'll
word
bring him
is
on soon.
say something.
between
gonna be the fucking-
Mike Pence and Donald Trump, who do you think would win in a wrestling match? I think
Trump, obviously, 6'3",
Yeah, Trump.
fucking
He's pretty tall.
250.
Choke slam him.
Yeah, well, he does have that WWE experience. Yeah, I guess that's a safe. Yeah, okay. What about Tim Kaine and Mike Pence?
You guys gonna watch that VP debate? I am not gonna. watch
Yeah,
that.
it's going to be boring as fuck, but I'll watch it.
Dude, that's like the worst. Ugh, I can't even stomach that.
Are we
It's
gonna
too
do
much.
a recap of that though?
No.
I like how the
refuse to.
Clinton camp has now changed from American flag lapel pins to H lapel pins. I thought that was pretty
Forward,
classy.
Jack. We are
I'm with her.
forward.
I'm with her. I'm fucking with her.
Did you see the Trump Pence thing that they brought out? It was like
Resistance is futile.
it was like the T.
With her or against her,
The
so.
T was like penetrating the P.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See that? And then they changed it, but then they kind of went back to that. I don't know.
It's got a great
It's an
message.
important theme.
You should have a Mexican and the T and the P are like ramming up its butt.
What's a Mexican?
An illegal immigrant is what I meant to say.
What's an
People are illegal.
And the irony is, like, we were talking with Redwood on the Facebook.
That's a sad thing, I gotta say, because I have these arguments, right? I debate these fucking right wingers and I debate these left wingers, and it's so sad because these fucking right wingers think you're like some kind of fucking liberal, and then the fucking liberals think you're some kind of hardcore.
That's how you know you're right, when everyone thinks you're wrong.
Just like Michael Smirkanish.
The
That's
cucks,
what he always says.
The cucks hate you, and the fucking safe spacers hate you. You're on the right track.
It's a good final word, I think. All right, guys. Well, thank you. It's been over 2.5 hours. I appreciate all of your thoughts on all of these diverse issues, and I hope that all of you come back in the future. In fact, maybe
lucky number 13.
Yeah. Actually, October 9th is the second debate, and supposedly October 19th is the third debate. So maybe you guys will come back.
I heard Rudy Giuliani doesn't want Trump to participate in those.
He shouldn't, because they're biased.
Do you think the debate format is intrinsically biased against Donald Trump in his facts?
I think facts are biased against Donald Trump.
I think he's pretty cool.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us. Please do like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on both YouTube and iTunes. Until next time.